Chapter 24:37. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. They turned into a stream of light and rushed out, killing their way into the barracks. Suddenly, one attack after another mercilessly slanted out, and a large number of foreign races were killed. Enemy attack! The roar spread throughout the barracks. Figures flew out of the barracks, one after another. This was an army of 10,000 people, and the weakest was the Void Emperor realm. The strongest general was also a Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouse. This army had a total of 2 Heavenly Emperors. Kill them! As soon as the 2 Heavenly Emperors appeared, the hell-suppressing realm human commander targeted them and charged towards them. Not good, retreat! The foreign race Heavenly Emperors discovered that there were a total of 6 Heavenly Emperors in the hell-suppressing realm. Knowing that they were no match for them, they gave the order to retreat. One by one, the foreign races rose into the air and retreated. At the same time, a bright light soared into the sky and disappeared into the depths of the firmament. This was a signal to summon the other foreign races to come and help. Kill! The hell-suppressing realm humans began a frenzied slaughter. They were all elites, a total of 6 Heavenly Emperors, and the others were all great emperors. They could be said to be the elites of the elites. One by one, the foreign races were killed. In a moment, they chased for 100,000 miles and killed thousands of foreign races. However, after chasing here, they did not dare to chase anymore. If other foreign race powerhouses came to help, they would be in danger. Retreat! The hell-suppressing realm commander gave the order, and more than 100 people quickly retreated. However, before they retreated far, their expressions changed. Because behind them, there were densely packed figures, all of them foreign races. There were at least tens of thousands of foreign races, and some of the foreign races in the lead had terrifying auras. There were a total of 10 Heavenly Emperors. Behind them, there were a total of 10 foreign race Heavenly Emperors. The hell-suppressing realm humans had ugly expressions. Not good. We've been ambushed. Charge forward. The hell-suppressing realm commander shouted. However, just as his words fell, the foreign races in front of them who had just fled returned. And there were even more of them. Moreover, the number of Heavenly Emperors in the lead had increased from 2 to 6. Moreover, one of them had an extremely terrifying aura, far above the other Heavenly Emperors. This was a peerless powerhouse among the foreign races. This was a 4-star Heavenly Emperor. Hee, you want to ambush us? Don't think we don't know. We're waiting for you to fall. A foreign race Heavenly Emperor sneered. Everyone from the Purgatory realm looked hopeless. Apparently, the outsiders had set a trap for them. Once they made a move, they would be surrounded. There were 6 foreign race Heavenly Emperors in front, and one of them was even a 4-star Heavenly Emperor. Behind them were 10 foreign race Heavenly Emperors. While they only had 6 Heavenly Emperors, the disparity in strength was too great. They were not a match at all. Today, it was very likely that none of them could leave. Kill them. Fight them to the death. That's right, let's fight it out with them. If we kill one, we'll break even. If we kill 2, we'll earn. The eyes of the humans of the prison suppressing realm were red, and they looked determined. Since he couldn't leave today, he might as well fight to the death. Even if he were to die, he would at least make the other party lose a piece of his flesh. Attack! The peerless expert of the outsiders gave the order. Kill! The humans of the Purgatory realm also roared and charged at the outsiders. Both sides collided fiercely. Suddenly, screams rose and fell. Some belonged to the outsiders, and some belonged to the humans. However, although the humans of the Purgatory realm were all elites, there were too many foreign races. Moreover, there were more experts than them. As soon as they fought, they were completely at a disadvantage. People were constantly killed. Kill, kill! A burly man with a saber in his hand was a peak great emperor. He slashed his saber and killed a great emperor of a foreign race. However, a heavenly emperor of a foreign race chopped him in half with an axe, and he died there. Tragic, incomparably tragic. Soon, half of the 100+ humans of the Purgatory realm were killed. If this continued, it was only a matter of time before they were all wiped out. Rumble. At this moment, in the distant sky, there was a violent roar. That was the void constantly exploding, and the roar was getting louder and louder, approaching at an extremely fast speed. Even those who were fighting on both sides stopped at the same time and looked over. Boom! The void exploded, and in the void not far away, there were suddenly more than 100 people. So many experts. Feeling the aura of more than 100 people, the foreign races were almost scared to death. The aura was too terrifying. With more than 100 auras gathered together, some of the weaker foreign races were directly pressed to the ground. "Brother Wu Tai, it's Brother Wu Tai!" The commander of the Purgatory realm shouted excitedly. These more than 100 people were naturally Lu Ming and the others. When they got close to the Purgatory realm, they noticed a huge battle from afar. A battle here must be between the Purgatory realm and the foreign races. Naturally, they rushed over immediately. "Wu Lu, it's you guys!" Wu Tai looked at the commander and then scanned the scene. When he saw the corpses of the Purgatory realm humans, Wu Tai's eyes turned red. "Bastards of the foreign races, die! All of you must die!" Wu Tai roared. "Kill them all!" The others shouted and suddenly attacked, attacking the foreign races fiercely. More than 100 heavenly emperors attacked together with 30 great emperors. They were too strong, and the foreign races were no match for them. In an instant, a few thousand foreign races were killed. Go quickly!" The remaining foreign races cried out in horror. How could they still dare to resist? Each and every one of them fled in panic. More than 100 heavenly emperors. How to fight? Don't even think about leaving. Kill. Kill! Large swaths of foreign races were killed, their corpses falling to the ground. Even the foreign race heavenly emperors were also instantly blown up. Among Lu Ming and the others, there were also many 4-star heavenly emperors and above. Kill, haha, kill! The remaining 50 over people of the Purgatory realm all roared in wild joy. Originally, they thought that they were dead for sure this time. They did not expect that a group of experts would suddenly appear halfway. Furthermore, the number of powerhouses was frighteningly large, completely crushing the foreign races. They launched a counterattack. Run! Those foreign race heavenly emperors were incomparably terrified and focused on escaping. But being surrounded by so many heavenly emperors, how could they possibly escape? Die for me! Wu Tai blocked the foreign races, 4-star heavenly emperor, and charged forward. 6-star heavenly emperor. The other party was in despair. He did not understand why so many powerhouses suddenly appeared. He fought back desperately, but the gap between a 4-star heavenly emperor and a 6-star heavenly emperor was too great. In one move, he was seriously injured by Wu Tai. In the second move, he was directly killed. Qing Tsang did not make a move because there was no need. Lu Ming also did not make a move. Previously, opening the restriction light screen consumed a lot of his energy, especially after being discovered by Duo Lu. He was injured when controlling the restriction light screen. In addition, along the way, he had broken the armor of others. Now he needed to recover. Lu Ming took out a large number of top-grade raw stones, devoured the raw stone's origin energy, and recovered. This was a one-sided battle without the slightest suspense. A large number of foreign races were harvested and killed. Chapter 2438. Not long after, all the foreign races present were killed without a single one remaining. Tens of thousands of foreign races, a total of 16 heavenly emperors, all annihilated. Big Brother Wu Tai, how did you escape? I heard that you were locked in the foreign race's eternal prison. Wu Lu flew over and looked at Wu Tai, extremely excited. Before Wu Tai was captured, he had a very good relationship with Wu Lu. Meeting now, he was naturally happy. It's a long story. It's all thanks to Brother Lu Ming. Let me introduce you guys. Wu Tai pointed at Lu Ming and Qing Song and introduced them to Wu Lu and the rest. Nine-headed golden lion. When Wu Lu and the rest knew Qing Song's identity, they were inevitably shocked. All right, pack up first. Let's return to the hell-suppressing realm first, Wu Tai said. Following that, everyone put away the storage bracelets and various weapons left behind by the foreign races, then flew towards the hell-suppressing realm. The hell-suppressing world was like a black dome of light covering the ground of the evil god world. It was a world of its own, its territory vast and boundless. Very soon, they were nearing the purgatory realm. Lu Ming discovered that there was a light shield in front of them, blocking their way. The reason why the hell-suppressing realm could withstand the attacks of the foreign races was all because of this light barrier. It enveloped all directions, and the foreign races could not break this light barrier at all. Arriving here, Lu Ming's expression changed slightly, because he felt the hell-suppressing steel bloodline in his body constantly buzzing, emitting a scorching light, as if it was extremely excited. Buzz! In front, that light barrier also trembled a little. What's going on? Wu Tai, Wu Lu, and the rest were greatly alarmed. The hell-suppressing realm's light barrier had remained motionless for eternity. Even if a peak heavenly emperor bombarded it, it would not tremble in the slightest. But why did it suddenly tremble just now? The people of the hell-suppressing realm looked at each other, some worry in their eyes. And Lu Ming was also secretly shocked in his heart. Could it be that the hell-suppressing realm is really related to the hell-suppressing steel? Otherwise, why would the hell-suppressing steel have an abnormality? Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. He felt as if the prison-suppressing steel was about to fly away. Lu Ming hurriedly suppressed and controlled the prison-suppressing steel, allowing it to hide within his body. The prison-suppressing steel was the key to suppressing the third bloodline. If the prison-suppressing steel flew away, who knew what would happen? At the very least, he could not let the prison-suppressing steel fly away for the time being. Lu Ming felt that the third bloodline was like a ticking time bomb. Wu Lu sent out a message. Not long after, the light barrier automatically opened a door. Lu Ming and the others walked into the light barrier. Walking into the light shield, Lu Ming felt that the strange movements of the prison-suppressing steel in his body had become stronger. When they all walked into the light barrier closed up again. Wu Lu, are you all right? Immediately, someone came over to greet them. Lu Ming glanced over. There were many people, all of them humans. Elder Lu, look who's back! Wu Lu laughed heartily as he walked forward, facing a white-haired old man. The old man's gaze swept over Lu Ming and the others, and a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. Wu Tai, Wang Qi, it's you guys! The old man saw Wu Tai and the others and cried out in surprise. This time, most of the people who escaped were humans from the prison-suppressing realm. There were not many from the heaven realm. When the humans of the prison-suppressing realm saw Wu Tai and the others return, they were naturally ecstatic. Elder Lu, Wu Tai and the others went up to greet them. You're all back. Good, good, good. Elder Lu was all smiles, and so were the others. With so many people returning, and all of them were heavenly emperor powerhouses, the strength of the prison-suppressing realm would increase by a notch. I heard that you guys were locked in the eternal prison. Since ancient times, no one has been able to escape from that place. How did you guys get out? Someone asked. The others also looked at Wu Tai and the others curiously. It's all thanks to Brother Lu Ming. Wu Tai first introduced Lu Ming and the others, then briefly explained how they escaped. After Elder Lu and the others heard it, they were naturally secretly amazed. Lu Ming was able to break the restrictions of the eternal prison at such a young age, and even kill a heavenly emperor. They were shocked beyond words. It's good that you're back. Let's go. I'll inform the elders to celebrate for you guys. Elder Lu said, and then spread the news. Following that, they flew towards the interior of the prison suppressing realm. The prison suppressing realms area was very vast, no different from a world. They flew over a large area of mountains and rivers. Suddenly, Lu Ming's pupils shrank sharply, and he was incomparably shocked, because after flying for a while, a stone tablet appeared in front of them. This stone tablet was incomparably huge, standing tall on the ground, towering between heaven and earth. No one knew how tall it was. It emitted endless light, and a pillar of light rushed out from the tablet, straight into the sky. On the tablet, there were 3 large words: Prison Suppressing Tablet. Prison Suppressing Tablet. There was actually a prison suppressing tablet here, and it didn't look illusory but solid. Could there be 2 prison suppressing tablets, or even more? At this moment, a thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Whoa! At this moment, the prison suppressing tablet in Lu Ming's body shook even more violently, especially the 3 large words, prison suppressing tablet, shining brightly. Whoa! In front, the huge prison suppressing tablet also suddenly shook, and a terrifying wave spread between heaven and earth. What's going on? Everyone in the prison suppressing realm's expression changed drastically. The prison suppressing tablet suddenly shook, something that rarely happened. However, it wasn't over yet. The prison suppressing tablet that stood between heaven and earth shook more and more violently, buzzing nonstop. Boom! Boom! Not only that, but there were also violent roars coming from other directions. An entire world was shaking. All the prison suppressing tablets are shaking. How is this possible? Elder Lu exclaimed in shock. The prison suppressing tablets were the foundation of the prison suppressing realm. The prison suppressing tablets were the reason why the prison suppressing world could not break in. The prison suppressing tablets produced a light shield that isolated the outside world. If not for the light shield, the prison suppressing realm would definitely not be a match for the foreign race's army and would definitely be destroyed. The prison suppressing tablet had never trembled so violently before. What was going on? At this moment, the prison suppressing tablet in Lu Ming's body shook more and more violently, and in the end, Lu Ming could no longer suppress it. Whoa! Lu Ming's body emitted a dazzling glow. Thereafter, the prison-suppressing steel emerged from his body and rapidly grew in size. It transformed into a gigantic steel that stood between heaven and earth, resonating with the prison-suppressing steel in front of him. This is the prison-suppressing master tablet. Elder Lu, Wu Tai, Wu Lu, and the others saw the prison-suppressing tablet in Lu Ming's body and shouted in disbelief. The prison-suppressing master tablet. Lu Ming's heart moved, and his mind spun rapidly. At this moment, he thought of many things. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, rays of light flew over from the distance, each of them an expert. There were old people, middle-aged people, men and women, and all of them had powerful auras. They were all Empyrean realm experts. The prison-suppressing master tablet. When they saw the prison-suppressing tablet above Lu Ming's head, they all exclaimed. Chapter 2439. In the Purgatory Suppression Realm, a group of powerful beings looked at Lu Ming in shock. They had sensed the abnormality here and rushed over to check it out. They did not expect to see such a scene. No, not only is there the Purgatory Suppression Master Tablet, there is also the soul of the Purgatory Suppression Master Tablet. Ha ha ha! It is the blessing of the ancestors. The Purgatory Suppression Master Tablet and the soul of the Purgatory Suppression Master Tablet have returned. From now on, all 9 tablets will be gathered. The experts of the Purgatory Suppression Realm laughed as if they had gone mad. But at this time, there was a change in Lu Ming's body. The third bloodline let out a roar. In the blood sea, endless blood qi spread out. Lu Ming's body was covered by a layer of blood qi, as if it was going to devour Lu Ming. Buzz! Above Lu Ming's head, the Purgatory Suppression Master tablet vibrated and emitted endless light. A powerful suppression force suppressed the third bloodline. Rumble! The third bloodline shook violently and burst out with shocking power to fight against the Purgatory Suppression Master tablet. The Purgatory Suppression Master tablet buzzed and then shrank. It flew back into Lu Ming's body and hovered above the third bloodline, suppressing the third bloodline. The third bloodline was eventually suppressed by the powerful suppressive force. It slowly flew back to Lu Ming's spine and lay low. Lu Ming took the opportunity to control the Purgatory Suppression Master tablet bloodline and let it fly back to his spine. The huge Purgatory Suppression Master tablet in front of him also quieted down, and everything returned to normal. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Ming. "Little brother, how did you get the Purgatory Suppression Master tablet and the soul of the Purgatory Suppression Master tablet?" Elder Lu looked at Lu Ming with a burning gaze. "Purgatory Suppression Master tablet? Are there many Purgatory Suppression tablets?" Lu Ming did not answer. Instead, he asked, "There are a total of 9 Purgatory Suppression tablets, 1 main tablet, and 8 auxiliary tablets. They are the life treasures of the ancestors of the Purgatory Suppression realm. However, in the ancient war, the Purgatory Suppression Master tablet was shattered and the soul of the Purgatory Suppression Master tablet disappeared. 2 of the fragments of the Purgatory Suppression tablet disappeared. Now, the Purgatory Suppression realm only has 8 auxiliary tablets and 1 fragment of the Purgatory Suppression Master tablet." Elder Lu explained patiently. "I see." Lu Ming nodded. He did not expect there to be 9 prison-suppressing steels, 1 main steel, and 8 auxiliary steels. The main monument had been shattered, and the 2 fragments that Lu Ming had obtained were the fragments of the main monument. No wonder the prison-suppressing steel reacted the moment Lu Ming arrived. "Young man, how did you get it?" "You even managed to get the spirit of the main boulder." "We thought that the spirit of the main boulder had vanished." Elder Lu continued asking, "Senior, the soul of the main boulder you mentioned was automatically awakened in my body when I was cultivating. It's considered my bloodline. As for the 2 fragments, I obtained them by chance later on." Lu Ming explained, "A bloodline awakened from the body?" Elder Lu and the others were all stunned. They were extremely shocked. "In my opinion, the spirit of the Purgatory Suppressing boulder didn't dissipate, but was reborn in this young man's body." In the prison suppressing realm, another white-haired old man spoke. This person was also an elder of the prison suppressing realm, and his cultivation was unfathomable. "That's right, haha, it's really the blessing of the ancestors." The other people of the prison suppressing realm were all full of smiles. "Young man, please come with us." Elder Lu's face revealed a gentle smile, and then flew towards the depths of the prison suppressing realm. The other people of the prison suppressing realm also followed. Lu Ming, Qing Sang, and the others also followed. Large mountains and lakes flashed under their feet, and after flying for an unknown distance, they had already arrived at the depths of the prison suppressing realm. In front of them, a towering mountain appeared in front of them. At the peak of the mountain, there was also a stone monument. However, this stone monument was only a fragment, and only a section stood on the peak of the mountain. Similar to the previous prison-suppressing monument, this broken monument also emitted a black ray of light into the sky. This is the other fragment of the prison-suppressing boulder. Combined with the 2 fragments in the young man's body, it is the complete prison-suppressing boulder. An elder of the prison-suppressing realm smiled gently. Lu Ming's eyes were also shining. Along the way, he had never given up looking for the other fragments of the prison-suppressing boulder, but after searching for so many years, he had not found any clues. He did not expect that the last fragment would be here. Lu Ming felt that the prison-suppressing boulder in his body was constantly vibrating, as if it was about to break through the sky and leave. Young man Lu Ming, we have a presumptuous request. Elder Lu looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's heart moved and said, Senior, please speak. The prison-suppressing 9 monuments are the life treasures of the ancestors of the prison-suppressing realm. In the ancient war, the ancestors fought with the enemy and fell, leaving only the prison-suppressing boulder to guard our lineage. However, the prison-suppressing 9 monuments are after all incomplete, and it is difficult to exert its full power. This old man represents the prison-suppressing realm and would like to ask young man Lu Ming to return the prison-suppressing boulder to our lineage and let the 9 monuments be combined. This way, the prison-suppressing 9 monuments can be maximized. Elder Lu said. As expected, Lu Ming's eyes flashed. When Elder Lu said that he had a presumptuous request, he guessed that the other party would make this request. The others of the prison-suppressing realm also looked at Lu Ming with hope. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and said, Senior, please forgive this junior for not being able to agree to this condition. Not able to agree? Elder Lu's face changed slightly and said, Young man Lu Ming, you saved Wu Tai and the others. Logically speaking, we should not make such a request of you, but the prison-suppressing boulder is too important to us. Please return it, and our lineage will definitely compensate you accordingly. Young man, if you have any conditions, please state them. Senior, that's not what I meant. It's really difficult to return it. Lu Ming shook his head. Elder Lu's face was a little ugly, and the others of the prison-suppressing realm were the same. You brat, you don't know what's good for you. Elder Lu said that he will compensate you. Moreover, the prison-suppressing boulder originally belonged to our lineage. You have to return it even if you don't want to. In the crowd, a burly man shouted. What did you say? Shut up. Wu Tai shouted coldly, and his cold gaze swept over the man. Lu Ming was Wu Tai's savior, and this person threatened Lu Ming, so he was naturally unhappy. What? The prison-suppressing realm wants to snatch it? Qing Song said, coldly, emitting a powerful aura that made people tremble. Everyone, please don't misunderstand. Elder Lu smiled bitterly, and then looked at the burly man who spoke just now, and said, Young man Lu Ming is an important guest of the prison-suppressing realm. Watch your words. Yes, Elder. The burly man's face was a little pale, and he nodded repeatedly, not daring to say more. However, most of the people of the prison-suppressing realm still looked at Lu Ming with longing. Obviously, the prison-suppressing boulder was indeed very important to them. Senior, it's not that I'm stingy and unwilling to return the prison-suppressing boulder, but I have my own difficulties. Lu Ming sighed. Chapter 2440. Difficulties? Little brother, if you have any difficulties, feel free to tell us. The hell-suppressing bloodline will do our best to help. Elder Lu said. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and said, Seniors, do you know Saint Ancestor Sha Xan? What? Saint Ancestor Sha Xan, Elder Lu exclaimed, his eyes filled with cold, killing intent. How can the hell-suppressing bloodline not know Saint Ancestor Sha Xan? The others from the hell-suppressing bloodline also revealed cold, killing intent, as if they had an irreconcilable grudge. Little brother, is this related to Saint Ancestor Sha Xan? Elder Lu asked. In my body, other than the bloodline of the hell-suppressing steel, another bloodline has awakened. It might be related to Saint Ancestor Sha Xan. With that, Lu Ming's heart moved and the third bloodline flew out, exuding cold, killing intent. Boom! 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 At this moment, a terrifying aura burst out from the people of the hell-suppressing bloodline, soaring into the sky like smoke signals. What amazing strength! Lu Ming was shocked. There were too many experts among the people of the hell-suppressing bloodline, and Lu Ming even felt a few auras that were not weaker than Qing Song. the aura of a peak heavenly emperor. It was terrifying, and this might only be a part of the hell-suppressing bloodline strength. It was no wonder that the hell-suppressing bloodline could fight with the foreign races for so many years and hold back a portion of their military forces. Saint Ancestor Shah Xan. It's really Saint Ancestor Shah Xan. He's not dead yet. The people of the hell-suppressing bloodline exclaimed, not hiding their cold killing intent. Lu Ming's heart moved, and the third bloodline flew back into Lu Ming's body. Elder Lu was deeply shocked, and he took a deep breath to calm down. I understand now. I finally understand why the spirit of the hell-suppressing steel would awaken in your body, Elder Lu said in realization. Senior, who is Saint Ancestor Shah Xan? Lu Ming asked. Saint Ancestor Shah Xan is a terrifying expert, an unparalleled expert who massacred the world. As Lu Zhonglai spoke, he seemed to be lost in his memories. Fear flashed in his eyes. In ancient times, a great war broke out, and the outsiders invaded the heaven world. The ancestors of the hell-suppressing bloodline were also humans, so of course they opposed the invasion. That time, a great war broke out. Legend has it that there are only a few peerless experts in the world. They are divided into two factions, and they are fighting each other. The ancestor of the hell-suppressing tribe is on the side of the heaven realm, the human race, while the sacred ancestor killer heart is on the side of the non-human race. During the primordial era, the great ancestor fought against sacred ancestor Shah Xan. The battle was so intense that even the hell-suppressing main boulder was shattered. In the end, the great ancestor and sacred ancestor Shah Xan perished together. It seems like sacred ancestor Shah Xan is not completely dead yet. His bloodline has been reborn in your body, and there's a chance for him to awaken again. However, it's obvious that the great ancestor Shah Xan had a trick up his sleeve, allowing the soul of the hell-suppressing sacred ancestor Shah Xan's bloodline to be reborn in your body. Elder Lu explained. That's right, that should be the case. The others of the hell-suppressing realm nodded in agreement. I see. Lu Ming came to a realization. He had always felt that his two bloodlines were extremely mysterious, as he had no idea where they came from, but he finally understood now. It was a battle between two peerless experts that had lasted for hundreds of millions of years. The only difference was that the battle had taken place in his body. Lu Ming's back was covered in cold sweat. In other words, he was constantly in danger. If it weren't for the hell-suppressing boulder, he would have been devoured by the third bloodline long ago. Meanwhile, Lu Ming also thought of another problem. When he was trying to rank up to the martial dominator realm, he would need to merge a bloodline with his body to transform it into a spiritual flesh. Luckily, he had chosen the Nine Dragons bloodline. If he had chosen the hell-suppressing boulder or the third bloodline, he would not have succeeded. Seniors, that's why I can't return the hell-suppressing boulder now. If I do, I'm afraid sacred ancestor Shah Xan will be resurrected, Lu Ming said with a wry smile. Sigh. Elder Lu let out a sigh and said, If that's the case, there's no need to return the hell-suppressing boulder. We can't let sacred ancestor Shah Xan be resurrected. Otherwise, not only the hell-suppressing realm would be destroyed, even the heaven realm would be destroyed. The others of the hell-suppressing realm nodded. They knew what was important and what was urgent. Either way, the hell-suppressing boulder was still able to resist the attacks of the foreign tribes. There was no rush. That being said, keeping sacred ancestor Shah Xan's bloodline would be a great disaster. We should find a way to destroy it, Elder Lu said. Senior, do you have any ideas? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Even though he could rely on the power of the third bloodline to improve his strength, allowing him to turn the tables in the nick of time, it was a ticking time bomb. If he could get rid of it, Lu Ming would rather not have that kind of power. Sacred ancestor Shah Xan is a supreme expert who has surpassed the heavenly emperors. In the ancient times, Such an expert was known as the Ancestor Emperor. He is an existence who has stepped into a whole new level. He is so powerful that the heavenly emperors are no match for him, even if it's just a trace of his bloodline. I'm afraid a heavenly emperor would not be able to destroy him. The only way is to get someone who is at the same level as sacred ancestor Sha Exen. Elder Lu said. Someone who is at the same level as sacred ancestor Sha Exen? Lu Ming smiled wryly. Where could he find such an existence? Senior ancestral dragon of the heaven realm is a supreme expert. If you can return to the heaven realm, there will be a way, Qing Tsang said. Ancestral dragon. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Everyone, you should stay here for now. We'll think of a way in the future, Elder Lu said with a smile. Immediately, everyone left and came to an ancient city in the depths of the hell-suppressing realm. Elder Lu arranged a place for them to stay. Lu Ming stayed here and cultivated in peace. The evil god tribe had 10 royal clans. They were the clans whose bloodlines were the closest to the sacred ancestor. Each of them was high and mighty, dominating a region. However, among the 10 royal clans, there were strong and weak ones. Among them, the strongest royal clan was called the First Royal Clan. For example, the first prince, who was ranked first on the longevity list, was the prince of the First Royal Clan. In the main hall of the First Royal Clan's palace, they were discussing something. At the top of the hall sat the king of the First Royal Clan. On the 2 sides of the hall sat the kings of the other 9 royal clans. The kings of the 10 royal clans had gathered. Everyone, that Lu Ming has escaped into the hell-suppressing realm. What should we do now? One of the kings of the other race asked. That duel is really a piece of trash. He was ordered to guard the eternal cage, but he actually escaped. I can't wait to kill him with a slap. Another king of the other race said coldly. Now is not the time to blame anyone, but how to solve it. That Lu Ming has the bloodline of sacred ancestor Sha Exan in his body. We must capture him and awaken sacred ancestor Sha Exan. This is related to our clan's plan. At the top, the king of the First Royal Clan said. Chapter 2441. Everyone fell silent as they frowned, trying to come up with a solution. The Purgatory realm is protected by the Purgatory Suppression Formation. That is a treasure left behind by the Purgatory Suppression ancestor. With our strength, it will be difficult to break it. A king of the other tribe sighed. The other kings nodded. If they could break it, they would have done so long ago. There was no need for them to wait until now. The hall fell into silence once again. The matter of Saint Ancestor Sha Exan is of great importance. We cannot be careless. I have decided to invite the Saint Ancestor. After a while, the king of the other tribe spoke. Invite the Saint Ancestor. The hearts of the other emperors shuddered. The Saint Ancestor of the other tribes had been severely injured in the battle and had been in a deep slumber to recover. If it was not an emergency, they would not disturb the Saint Ancestor. However, they had no choice now. The Saint Ancestor Sha Exan was too important. Since the ancient times, this world had not been able to give birth to a supreme expert. There were only so many supreme experts. Each of them could determine the direction of the battle. Once the Saint Ancestor Sha Exan was resurrected and returned to his peak, it would be easy for him to destroy the Purgatory realm and the Heaven realm. This matter was worth disturbing the Saint Ancestor of the other tribes. All right, I agree. A king of the other tribes nodded. I agree too. I agree. Aye. The other kings nodded and came to an agreement. They immediately set off. The other tribe, Saint Mountain. The void trembled as 10 kings appeared in the air. The moment the 10 kings appeared, they were noticed. Oh my God, what did I just see? 10 kings together? What are the 10 kings doing at the sacred mountain? Many of the other tribes discussed in shock. The 10 kings stepped out and headed straight for the top of the mountain. The 10 kings did not have to climb step by step like the other tribes. They had the right to reach the top. Many of the other tribes were alarmed and came out of seclusion to observe the development of the matter. The 10 kings had arrived at the top of the Saint Mountain. This meant that something big was going to happen. There was a cave at the top of the Saint Mountain. There was a stone door at the entrance of the cave that was tightly shut. This was the place where the saint ancestor was sleeping. The stone door was engraved with dense runes. The eyes of the 10 kings were filled with sincerity and reverence as they knelt down at the same time and kowtowed. As they kowtowed, their bodies shone and turned into 10 pillars of light that shot into the stone gate. In an instant, the stone door emitted a dazzling light that illuminated the entire holy mountain. Kacha! Suddenly, the stone door made a sound and slowly opened. Behind the stone door, an aura spread out. This aura was indescribable. It was majestic and heavy, transcending everything and suppressing everything. It was unimaginably powerful. Under this aura, even the heavenly Tao became extremely docile. This was the aura of a supreme expert. The divine ancestor is awake. All of the outsiders on Sage Mountain were shaken to the core, and then expressions of reverence appeared on their faces. Regardless of the level of their cultivation bases, they all dropped to their knees and kowtowed. After countless years, the sacred ancestor had finally awakened. This caused countless outsiders to be extremely excited. Welcome, divine ancestor! At the peak of the Saint Mountain, the 10 non-human kings bowed respectfully. Why have you woken me up? A dignified and ancient voice resounded throughout the sacred mountain. This caused many of the outsiders to tremble in excitement. They never thought that they would be able to hear the voice of the divine ancestor in their lifetime. They were so lucky. Divine ancestor, the bloodline of divine ancestor Shah Exayen, has awakened in a human youth. The king of the first royal tribe replied respectfully, Shah Exayen? Seems like his plan worked. Where is he now? The majestic voice sounded again. Divine ancestor, there's been an accident. That youth has the bloodline of divine ancestor Shaxan and the prison-suppressing steel. Furthermore, that youth has escaped into the prison-suppressing world. The prison-suppressing world is a territory formed by the prison-suppressing steel, left behind by the prison-suppressing old ancestor. The king of the first royal tribe reported truthfully. So it's the prison-suppressing old ancestor. What a good plan. I understand now. In 3 months, I will personally make a trip to the prison-suppressing world. Before that, gather as many experts as you can and set up the 10-directional ceiling formation outside the prison-suppressing world. Here's a formation disc. Take it. The majestic voice sounded. Then, a ray of light flew out from the cave. The king of the first royal tribe reached out and caught it. It turned out to be a formation disc with strange patterns on it. Thank you, divine ancestor. The 10 kings of the outsiders were overjoyed. They bowed respectfully and retreated. The door of the cave closed once again. That incomparably terrifying aura also disappeared without a trace. Those who are great emperors and above come out of seclusion and follow us to the prison-suppressing world. The 10 royal tribes stood in the sky. The king of the first royal tribe's voice echoed throughout the entire Saint Mountain. Yes, yes, sir. On the Saint Mountain, countless voices sounded. Then, figures flew out from all over the Saint Mountain. The number was shocking. In the sky, there was a black mass. All of them were great emperors and above. Go and wait outside the prison-suppressing world. We will lead the army and be there soon. The king of the first royal tribe ordered. Yes, sir. Countless experts obeyed the order. Then they turned into a black mass and flew towards the prison-suppressing world. The 10 royal tribes' kings returned to their respective royal cities. Not long after, a large number of experts flew out from the royal cities of the 10 royal tribes and flew towards the prison-suppressing world. In an instant, countless experts of the outsiders gathered outside the prison-suppressing world. The prison-suppressing world was naturally alarmed and called for an emergency meeting. The outsiders are invading on a large scale. They have mobilized countless experts. Looking at the formation, the 10 royal tribes of the outsiders have all moved. It seems like they are after the bloodline of the divine ancestor, Shah Xayan. We must not give the bloodline of the divine ancestor, Shah Xayan, to them. That's right. We have the prison-suppressing formation. They will not be able to break through. The upper echelons of the prison-suppressing world discussed and unanimously decided to resist until the end. Without the lips, the teeth would feel cold. They naturally understood this logic. Once the bloodline of the divine ancestor Shah Xayan was handed over, the prison-suppressing world would be the first to be destroyed when the divine ancestor Shah Xayan recovered. Countless experts of the prison-suppressing world were also on the move. They were ready to fight at any time. However, the outsiders did not attack. Instead, they began to set up a formation outside. This made the people of the prison-suppressing world puzzled. Were they going to attack with a formation? But for now, they could only wait. Is it coming? Lu Ming whispered. He also came to the periphery of the prison-suppressing world to observe the situation. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. On this day, a terrifying aura suddenly came from outside the prison-suppressing world. This aura was indescribable. It was too terrifying. The moment it appeared, the heavens and earth fell silent. It was as if the laws of heaven and earth, the great Tao of heaven and earth, and the heavenly Tao had all stopped moving. Only this aura was supreme. Even through the prison-suppressing formation, one could clearly feel it. Chapter 2442. This aura, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as his pupils constricted. He had felt this aura before. It was on the Void Sacred Island. The statue on the Void Sacred Island exuded the same aura. It was supreme and oppressive. That was the aura of someone of the same level. It was the aura of a supreme expert. Due to the great prison-suppressing array, there was a layer of black fog outside the purgatory realm. It was impossible to see through the purgatory realm from the outside, and the outside could not be seen from the purgatory realm either. But now, under the suppression of the aura, the black fog outside the purgatory realm dissipated completely. One could see that there was a light screen between heaven and earth, covering all directions. That was the light screen formed by the great prison-suppressing array. Outside the light screen, countless other races stood in the air or on the ground. There were so many of them that it was impossible to count them all. Suddenly, the space outside cracked open, and a figure stepped out from the crack. However, the figure was shrouded in a layer of black light, and his appearance could not be seen clearly. But the supreme aura emanated from this figure. As soon as he appeared, the aura became even more terrifying. It was as if he was heaven and earth, and he was everything. Even the heavenly Tao had to kneel at his feet. Greetings, divine ancestor. All the other races bowed respectfully. Divine ancestor? Everyone in the purgatory realm trembled. Divine ancestor. The other race's divine ancestor has awakened. In the purgatory realm, a white-haired elder said with a trembling voice. His eyes were filled with fear. This was an extremely powerful existence. But when he saw the figure, he was filled with fear. He was not the only one. Many of the purgatory realm's elites were the same. The other race's divine ancestor was a supreme expert, on the same level as the purgatory realm's forefather. That kind of person was too powerful. He had surpassed the heavenly Tao and the heavenly Emperor realm. He had reached a completely different level of existence. A heavenly Emperor realm existence could not withstand a single blow from him. Now, the other race's divine ancestor had awakened and descended in person. The purgatory realm shall be destroyed. The other race's divine ancestor said coldly, filled with supreme pressure. Boom! The outsider's sacred patriarch took a step forward, causing the sky to tremble as an enormous foot appeared, which then stomped down toward the hell-crushing world. It was so huge that it covered the entire sky. It was even bigger than the entire hell-suppressing realm. From afar, Zhang Xian could see that there was a semicircle of light surrounding the purgatory suppression realm. An incomparably huge foot, even bigger than the light barrier, stomped heavily on the light barrier. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion was heard. The entire prison suppression realm shook violently, and countless buildings collapsed. The light shield formed by the prison-suppressing steel was also vibrating violently, emitting layers of ripples. However, he managed to block it in the end. The kick did not manage to break the prison-suppressing grand formation. The prison-suppressing grand formation stabilized. Ha ha ha, he blocked it, he blocked it. He can't break it. The people of the hell-suppressing realm were first shocked, then overjoyed. The prison-suppressing formation formed by the prison-suppressing steels blocked the attack of the foreign sacred ancestor. Let's see how many moves this stupid formation can block. The outsider ancestor coldly spoke. A beam of destructive light shot out from his forehead, transforming into 9 gigantic swords that slashed down towards the hell-suppressing grand formation. Boom! 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 Terrifying explosions sounded continuously. The entire hell-suppressing realm was like a small boat in the ocean, swaying with the waves. It seemed like it would be destroyed at any moment. The 8 prison-suppressing steels around the hell-suppressing realm trembled, emitting boundless light. The main steel fragment at the center of the hell-suppressing realm also emitted boundless light, strengthening the prison-suppressing formation. However, the foreign sacred ancestor's attack was too strong. The terrifying vibrations caused many of the weaker cultivators to vomit blood and fall to the ground. Boom! Boom! The mountains began to tremble violently, causing them to explode. Debris flew everywhere, and dust filled the air. Not good. If this continues, we won't be able to hold on for long. The foreign sacred ancestor was also heavily injured back then. After so many years, he still hasn't recovered to his peak. Otherwise, the prison-suppressing formation wouldn't be able to hold on. If the prison-suppressing steels gather, we might be able to hold on. Voices rang out one after another. Many cultivators of the hell-suppressing realm were extremely anxious. After all, the foreign sacred ancestor was a supreme expert on the same level as the hell-suppressing ancestor. Although the foreign sacred ancestor was injured back then and had lost his peak strength, the prison-suppressing formation was formed by the treasures left behind by the hell-suppressing ancestor. He wasn't the one controlling it, so it was naturally weaker. Moreover, it was just a broken formation. How could it possibly withstand the attack of the foreign sacred ancestor? It would be broken sooner or later. Now they were caught in a dilemma. If they let Lu Ming return the prison-suppressing steel, the prison-suppressing formation's power would definitely increase. However, if they did that, sacred ancestor Sha Xen would be revived. If they didn't return the prison-suppressing steel, they would be unable to hold on and would die. Lu Ming's eyebrows furrowed deeply. He was also considering if he should control the prison-suppressing steel and let it gather to increase the power of the prison-suppressing formation. However, if he did that without the prison-suppressing steel, the third bloodline would definitely take the opportunity to devour Lu Ming's consciousness. The situation was extremely dangerous. What should we do? Everyone was extremely anxious. Roar! Suddenly, a dragon's roar could be heard. The dragon's roar shook the heavens and the earth as a supreme aura filled the place. Whoosh! Far away, the void vibrated violently before it cracked open. A dragon's claw suddenly reached out from the void. The dragon's claw was so huge that it seemed boundless. It grabbed at the countless foreign races and trapped them within it. At this moment, the foreign races, including the kings of the 10 great king tribes, were extremely terrified. They felt like they were going to be turned into ashes by this claw. "It's you, you worm!" The foreign race's sacred ancestor roared furiously. With a wave of his hand, a gigantic palm slammed out and collided with the dragon's claw. Boom! A terrifying explosion occurred. The sky within a radius of a few million miles exploded, causing countless cracks to appear in the space. The same thing happened to the ground below. Explosions occurred continuously as lava shot up into the sky. Terrifying. This was way too terrifying. Just a single move was enough to destroy the heavens and earth. If it weren't for the protection of the foreign race's sacred ancestor, many of them would have died. Roar! The dragon's roar shook the heavens as the space exploded. A gigantic true dragon appeared in the sky. This true dragon was so huge that it was at least 1,000,000 miles long. As it circled the sky, it covered the sun. Countless people were dumbfounded. Ancestral dragon! It's senior ancestral dragon! Ching Tsang exclaimed in surprise. It's senior ancestral dragon! Senior ancestral dragon is here. We're saved. The experts of the prison-suppressing world laughed maniacally. They were extremely excited. Chapter 2443. The ancestral dragon was millions of miles long. It was too majestic. His body circled in the air, and his dragon head had already extended to the depths of the sky. When his dragon eyes opened, it was as if there were 2 suns in the sky. Ancestral dragon! Lu Ming whispered. His eyes were filled with excitement. The ancestral dragon was said to be a supreme expert in the heaven world. Even the Dandan was full of respect when he mentioned the ancestral dragon. Back then, Lu Ming had obtained a drop of the ancestral dragon's blood and refined it in his body to increase the strength of his physical body. Now the ancestral dragon was obviously the real body. Roar! The ancestral dragon let out a dragon roar again. His powerful aura made the faces of countless foreign races pale. In front of a supreme expert, ordinary heavenly emperors could not even withstand a single blow. Worm, you haven't recovered from your injuries. Do you think you're a match for me? The divine ancestor said coldly. Although his body could not be compared to the ancestral dragon, his aura was not weak at all. It's just a fight to the death. The ancestral dragon spoke. His voice was like thunder, shaking heaven and earth. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. When the sky opens, none of you will survive. All of you will die. The divine ancestor said coldly, "We can only fight." This was the ancestral dragon's reply. Boom! Then the ancestral dragon stretched out a dragon claw and attacked the divine ancestor. The body of the divine ancestor of the foreign race emitted endless light. In the light, his body expanded rapidly, becoming millions of miles long. He stood tall and was no smaller than the ancestral dragon. The divine ancestor threw out a palm and collided with the ancestral dragon. Heaven and earth exploded, and it was a scene of destruction. Set up the Great Seal array. The divine ancestor's voice was heard. Set up the array. The king of the first royal race roared. A disc array appeared in his hand, emitting endless light. Countless foreign races flashed and formed strange seals with their hands. Runes spread out from their bodies. Countless foreign races spread out countless runes. And with the king of the first royal race as the core, they formed a huge array. Countless runes began to condense, forming huge chains that wrapped around the ancestral dragon. Roar! The ancestral dragon roared and wanted to retreat, but he was entangled by the divine ancestor. As the 2 of them fought fiercely, countless chains covered the entire area and trapped the ancestral Gragon within. The ancestral dragon roared, causing the void to collapse. He struggled with all his might, trying to break free. However, the Great Seal of the 10 Directions was set up by the joint efforts of countless foreign tribes. It was unknown how many Heavenly Emperor Realm and Heavenly Emperor Realm powerhouses there were. The might of the great array laid down by so many experts was simply too shocking. Even someone as strong as the ancestral dragon couldn't break free for a while. Moku, do you think you can do anything to me with this formation? Ancestral dragon roared. Moku was the name of the alien race's sacred ancestor. I can't do anything to you. It's enough to trap you for an hour. After an hour, you won't be able to turn the tables. The foreign race's divine ancestor said coldly. Then he turned around and walked towards the prison suppression world. Boom! The outsider's sacred ancestor didn't waste any time. He attacked directly, sending an enormous palm smashing toward the hell-crushing realm. At the same time, destructive light shot out from his forehead, transforming into 9 swords that slashed toward the hell-crushing realm. Boom! 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 The light barrier of the hell-crushing realm shook violently again. The sacred ancestor continued to attack, causing the light barrier of the hell-crushing realm to ripple. The entire hell-crushing realm was shaking even more violently than before. It was obvious that the sacred ancestor didn't go all out earlier, as he knew that the ancestral dragon would come. Now that the ancestral dragon was trapped by the great seal of the 10 directions, the sacred ancestor was going all out. The earth of the hell-crushing realm shook violently. Mountains collapsed, rivers stopped flowing, and the ground caved in. It was a scene of doomsday. What should we do? If this continues, we won't be able to hold on any longer. Senior Ancestral Dragon is trapped. He will need an hour to break free. Based on the current situation, the hell-crushing realm won't be able to hold on for an hour. Some of the powerhouses of the hell-crushing realm were extremely anxious. When the ancestral dragon appeared, they thought that they were saved. They didn't expect the alien race's sacred ancestor to have predicted this and set up a formation to stop the ancestral dragon. Once the formation was broken, they would all die. What should we do? Everyone was extremely anxious. Many of them looked at Lu Ming. Now, only Lu Ming could turn the tide. If the fragments of the hell-crushing steel in his body and the soul of the main hell-crushing steel and the secondary hell-crushing steel combine, the power of the hell-crushing realm will definitely increase greatly. But what about sacred ancestor Shah Exan? If we kill him before sacred ancestor Shah Exan devours him, won't sacred ancestor Shah Exan die too? Someone whispered and looked at Lu Ming with evil intentions. What did you say? Do you want to die? Wu Tai shouted coldly. His figure flashed and appeared in front of Lu Ming. His eyes flashed coldly as he stared at those who spoke. Qing Tsang also moved and appeared beside Lu Ming. If anyone dared to have any ideas about Lu Ming, he would attack violently. Not only the two of them, but those who were rescued by Lu Ming from the eternal prison also stood beside Lu Ming, emitting a cold aura. Their attitudes said it all. The faces of those who spoke just now turned pale. Shut up, all of you. Lu Ming is the savior of the hell-crushing realm. Do you understand? Elder Lu shouted coldly, and then looked at Lu Ming with an apologetic expression. Lu Ming smiled and was not angry. At such a critical moment, it was normal for some people to have such thoughts. If sacrificing Lu Ming could save everyone, many people would have such thoughts. The world shook more and more violently. The attacks of the foreign tribe's sacred ancestor were getting more and more violent. He became 1,000,000 miles tall and stood between heaven and earth like a supreme deity. He attacked the hell-crushing realm as if he wanted to destroy the world. A few minutes later, boom, boom, the hell-crushing realm shook violently. The light shield formed by the hell-crushing realm kept changing shape. If this continued, it would collapse at any time. It had only been a few minutes. It could not hold for an hour. Crack! Suddenly, a sound rang out, making everyone's heart beat wildly. This was because a crack had appeared on the hell-crushing realm. Everyone, let's attack together. Set up the array and resist together. Elder Lu roared and took the lead to charge forward. Attack! Let's fight to the death. Fight! Countless people in the hell-crushing realm shouted and rushed forward like locusts. They started to set up an array in a huge, open space. There were countless elites in the hell-crushing realm, from the peak invincible realm to the ethereal Darch realm. So many people set up a large array. Their auras merged, and then they attacked together. Boom! They threw out a palm at the same time, and a huge stone tablet flew out. It passed through the light shield and blasted toward the sacred ancestor. A bunch of ants. You overestimate yourselves. Chapter 2444. The foreign race's divine ancestor slammed his palm on the stone steel. The stone steel, formed by all the experts of the hell-suppressing realm, shook violently before exploding. Uft! The weaker experts of the hell-suppressing realm, such as the Void Emperors, trembled violently and spat out blood. Continue! Elder Lu and the other elders yelled and attacked again. Endless light flashed as they formed another giant stone steel and flew out. Attacking from the inside, the hell-suppressing Grand Array's light shield wouldn't stop it at all. A bunch of ants die. The foreign race's divine ancestor roared as a destructive light shot out from his forehead and hit the stone steel. The stone steel instantly exploded. This time, many Void Emperors of the hell-suppressing realm were thrown back as if they had been hit by a mountain. They spat out blood and were severely injured, unable to continue fighting. Even some of the true Emperors had blood flowing out of their mouths. I'll go with you. Qing Tsang rushed out and gathered in the Grand Array. He turned into a giant 9-headed golden lion and attacked together with the Grand Array. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then Wu Tai and the others also rushed out and joined the Grand Array. Kill! Countless experts shouted and threw out another stone steel. Boom! 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 The experts of the hell-suppressing realm set up a Grand Array and worked together with the hell-suppressing Grand Array to block the foreign race's divine ancestor. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than a dozen blows. However, the people of the hell-suppressing realm were completely at a disadvantage. The reason the foreign race's Grand Array was able to block the ancestral dragon was because they had been inscribing the Grand Array a few months in advance. The Grand Array was extremely perfect. In addition, they had more experts than the hell-suppressing realm. Moreover, they had the array disc given to them by the foreign race's divine ancestor. That was why they were able to block the ancestral dragon. On the other hand, the people of the hell-suppressing realm had hurriedly set up the Grand Array and had far fewer experts than the foreign race. Naturally, they couldn't fight against the foreign race's divine ancestor. Bam! Bam! The experts of the hell-suppressing realm were sent flying far away and fell to the ground. They spat out mouthfuls of blood and lost the ability to continue fighting. In the end, even the great emperors and heavenly emperors trembled violently and turned pale. This was especially true for some of the strongest experts, such as Qing Tsang and Elder Lu. They were the core of the Grand Formation, so the backlash they received was much greater. Their bodies trembled slightly, and blood flowed out of their mouths. Block it! The old bodies of Lu Zhonglai and the others were trembling, but their wills were firm, and they refused to retreat. That's the only way. Behind him, Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly and let out a long sigh. At this point, there was no other way. There was only one way, and that was to combine the prison-suppressing monuments. With the prison-suppressing steels combined, the power of the prison-suppressing Grand Formation was greatly enhanced. Only then could it withstand the attacks of the sacred ancestors. As for Saint Ancestor Sha Xian, he could only take it one step at a time. Lu Ming wouldn't have allowed himself to be devoured by Saint Ancestor Sha Xian. Prison-suppressing steel, go! Lu Ming growled. His body glowed, and the prison-suppressing steel appeared. Wong! As soon as the prison-suppressing steel appeared, it began to vibrate violently. It expanded rapidly and emitted a boundless radiance. Wong, wong, buzz. In the hell-suppressing realm, the fragment and the 8 secondary steels shook violently, as if they were very excited. "Oh no, Lu Ming, don't be rash!" Qing Tsang roared. "Think thrice." Wu Tai and the others also roared. If Saint Ancestor Sha Xian was reborn, the consequences would be even more severe. However, Lu Ming's eyes were firm, and he was unmoved. "Go!" Lu Ming roared. With a wave of his hand, the prison-suppressing steel flew into the depths of the hell-suppressing realm at lightning speed. Then, Lu Ming completely cut off his connection with the prison-suppressing steel. The prison-suppressing steel sped up and entered the void. In an instant, it arrived at the fragment of the hell-suppressing realm. When the two of them were close, the fragment of the hell-suppressing realm flew out from the mountain peak and towards Lu Ming's prison-suppressing steel. Wong. The two of them collided and fused together. All the fragments of the prison-suppressing main steel fused together to form a complete prison-suppressing steel. Moreover, it had the spirit of the main steel. At this moment, the prison-suppressing main steel expanded again. It was as tall as the sky, and it emitted a shocking wave of energy. The other 8 secondary steels began to vibrate violently as well. All the light gathered and formed the prison-suppressing grand formation. In an instant, the power of the prison-suppressing grand formation increased tremendously. The cracks that had appeared previously disappeared. Boom! The attack of the foreign race's divine ancestor landed on the prison-suppressing grand formation. The prison-suppressing grand formation only produced a slight ripple, but it was not as big as before. The complete prison-suppressing grand formation would take the foreign race's divine ancestor a long time to break it, even at his peak. If he wanted to break it now, it would take even longer. By then, the ancestral dragon would have escaped. However, the foreign race's divine ancestor stopped and laughed. "Ha ha ha, how foolish. Without the suppression of the prison-suppressing steel, let's see how you're going to resist the devouring of the murderous heart." At this moment, Lu Ming's body had indeed undergone a tremendous change. As soon as the prison-suppressing steel left, the third bloodline immediately turned upside down. Rumble. The sound of endless waves could be heard. The third bloodline seemed to have turned into a sea of blood. The sea of blood roiled as endless energy swept towards Lu Ming. Die, die, die. A loud roar filled with boundless murderous intent slammed into Lu Ming's divine sense. It was trying to devour Lu Ming's consciousness and completely take over Lu Ming's body. In an instant, Lu Ming's eyes turned blood red. So did his hair. Even his body grew many bone spikes. He looked extremely ferocious. Ha ha ha! The foreign race's divine ancestor burst out laughing. "Lu Ming, hold on." Qing Tsang used the lion roar to help Lu Ming suppress the murderous intent, allowing Lu Ming to regain his consciousness. However, without the suppression of the prison-suppressing steel, the third bloodline's power was simply too strong. Its murderous intent was even more terrifying. In an instant, Lu Ming's consciousness was almost completely devoured. Lu Ming finally realized how lucky he was in the past. It was only because of the suppression of the prison-suppressing steel that he was not devoured by the third bloodline. The third bloodline would only be able to take advantage of him when he actively borrowed the power of the third bloodline. Otherwise, he would have been devoured by the third bloodline long ago. As such, even though the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline was very advanced, Lu Ming was unable to unleash its full power. It was mainly because the prison-suppressing steel was focused on suppressing the third bloodline. Devour, rebirth, kill. The sea of blood roiled and formed a giant face. It kept changing and shaking Lu Ming's consciousness. Ruler. Lu Ming suddenly roared and began to execute the Tao of the ruler. His body suddenly emitted a dazzling purple-golden light. In an instant, The power of the third bloodline was actually pushed back a little. Lu Ming's consciousness also became clearer. It's working. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Chapter 2445. Lu Ming immediately sat down cross-legged and focused on channeling the Tao of domination. His body was covered in a purple-gold light. For a moment, the purple-gold and blood-red light on his body kept rolling. Domination. Domination of the world. Domination of everything. Get out of my way. Lu Ming hollered in his heart. The power of the path of domination protected his soul firmly in the center, making it impenetrable. Rumble. After being blocked, the third bloodline seemed to be enraged. Waves of blood surged into the sky, trying to drown Lu Ming. It kept attacking Lu Ming. Oh no, the power of the world is quickly depleting. Lu Ming's expression changed. Controlling the Tao of domination to resist the third bloodline was depleting his power of the world very quickly. If this continued, he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Wait, the Tao of domination can dominate the world. If I can dominate the entire world, I can naturally do the same with the energy of the world. Lu Ming's heart moved, and then he emptied his mind. At this moment, it was as if he had become one with the world. It was as if he had become the ruler of the world. Whoosh, whoosh, with a single thought, the infinite energy of heaven and earth was under Lu Ming's control. It helped him resist the erosion of the third bloodline. Instantly, the consumption of his power of the world was greatly reduced. It's working. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The Tao of domination was indeed magical. He had a feeling that he had just comprehended the Tao of domination not long ago, and was still weak. If he continued to improve in the future, the Tao of domination would become stronger as his cultivation continued to increase. At that time, he might really be able to dominate the entire world and borrow the power of the world. How powerful would that be? For example, if you controlled the power of the entire heaven realm to attack your enemy, how powerful would that be? It was unimaginable. Lu Ming completely blocked the third bloodline's invasion with the Tao of domination. No matter how much the third bloodline went crazy, it was useless. This power, how is it possible? How is it possible? How can anyone in this world control this kind of power? Outside the hell-suppressing realm, the alien race's divine ancestor's eyes widened as he roared in disbelief. He knows this power of mine. Lu Ming's heart moved. As far as he knew, no one in history had ever controlled this kind of power. What did the outsider's sacred ancestor mean? This power. Ha ha ha, good, good. At this moment, ancestral Gragon laughed heartily. However, his laughter was the complete opposite of that of the outsider's sacred ancestor. He blocked it. Qing Tsang Wu Tai Lu Zhonglai, and the others were also overjoyed. If Lu Ming was able to resist the sacred ancestor Sha Xan's invasion, it would be a turn for the better. Damn it, I'm going to destroy you all. The outsider's sacred ancestor roared as a terrifying aura erupted from him. A gigantic battle axe appeared in his hand, which he swung down toward the hell-crushing Grand Formation. Boom! The prison-suppressing Grand Formation shook violently, and layers of ripples spread out. However, it managed to block the attack, and the situation was much better than before. Break, break, break. The outsider's sacred ancestor attacked madly, his axe light shocking the heavens and destroying everything in its path. However, even though the hell-suppressing Grand Formation was shaking, it was still able to hold on firmly. From the looks of it, the foreign sacred ancestor wouldn't be able to breach it for the next few hours. Lu Ming, hang in there. You just need to hang in there for half an hour, and I'll be able to break this formation. Ancestral Gragon's voice could be heard. His gigantic dragon body was wrapped in chains, and he struggled violently, causing the faces of the other outsiders to turn pale. Senior, don't worry. Half an hour won't be a problem. Lu Ming's voice could be heard. All right, roar. Ancestral Gragon roared, unleashing a boundless dragon aura. The outsider sacred ancestor roared as well, attacking the hell, suppressing grand formation madly. Both sides were trying to buy time. Whichever side took the initiative would win. If the outsider's sacred ancestor breached the hell, suppressing grand formation first, everyone would die, and all their efforts would be in vain. If Lu Ming couldn't hold on and was devoured by the sacred ancestor Sha Exen, they would be finished as well. There was another possibility. If the ancestral Gragon breached the great 10-directional seal first, he would be able to enter the hell, suppressing grand formation and completely destroy the sacred ancestor Sha Exen. Although the sacred ancestor Sha Exen was an unparalleled expert on the same level as the ancestral Gragon, he was only left with a strand of his bloodline. He was no match for the ancestral Gragon and would definitely be destroyed. Therefore, whichever side took the initiative would be able to change the outcome of the battle. Of course, the outsider's sacred ancestor could also change his strategy to attack the ancestral Gragon. However, the ancestral Gragon was only held back by the great 10-directional seal and had not lost his battle strength. Even if the sacred ancestor attacked the ancestral Gragon, he wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Perhaps the shockwaves from their battle would cause the great 10-directional seal to crumble even faster. The sacred ancestor had thought that everything was under his control. However, he had never expected Lu Ming to be able to resist the sacred ancestor Sha Exen's invasion. Now, everything was out of his control. Time passed by slowly. Everyone was waiting for the result. Those from the hell-suppressing world were worried that Lu Ming wouldn't be able to hold on. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Roar! The dragon's roar shook the heavens and earth. Countless outsider experts trembled violently and spat out mouthfuls of blood. Bam! 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 The runes on the ancestral Gragon's body continued to explode and dissipate into energy. In a few breaths, all the runes had exploded. Even the kings of the 10 royal tribes trembled violently and spat out mouthfuls of blood. The ancestral Gragon had broken free. Damn it! The sacred ancestor roared. He stopped attacking the great 10-directional seal and turned to attack the ancestral Gragon. However, the ancestral Gragon didn't want to fight him head-on. Instead, he shrunk his body to 12 meters long and dashed toward the great 10-directional seal like a bolt of lightning. As long as the ancestral Gragon entered the great 10-directional seal and destroyed the sacred ancestor Sha Exen's bloodline, they would have won. Don't even think about it. The sacred ancestor knew what the ancestral Gragon was planning. He shrunk his body and tried his best to stop the ancestral Gragon. However, their strength was on par. The ancestral Gragon didn't want to fight and was focused on the great 10-directional seal. The sacred ancestor couldn't stop him. Sha Exen, retreat! The sacred ancestor roared. Even if he tried his best, he wouldn't be able to stop the ancestral Gragon for long. Rumble! The sea of blood that surrounded Lu Ming shook violently. It seemed extremely indignant. In the end, all the sea of blood and blood aura shrunk into a drop of blood. It transformed into a blood-red lightning and flew out of the suppressing hell array. Lu Ming had completely lost his connection with the third bloodline. Whoosh! The drop of blood formed by the sacred ancestor Sha Exen's bloodline was extremely fast. In a flash, it rushed out of the great 10-directional seal. Whoosh! Whoosh! The ancestral Gragon and the sacred ancestor pounced toward the drop of blood at an incredible speed. Chapter 2446. What a pity! Ancestral Gragon sighed. The bloodline of Saint Ancestor Sha Exen was in the hands of the foreign tribe's divine ancestor. However, now that it was in the hands of the foreign tribe's divine ancestor, it was impossible to completely destroy Saint Ancestor Sha Exen. In a flash, Ancestral Gragon entered the Purgatory Suppression Formation. I'll spare you today. It won't be long before the purgatory suppression world and the heaven world are destroyed. I'll definitely succeed in splitting open the heavens. All of you stubborn people will die. The cold voice of the foreign tribe's divine ancestor rang out as he ordered the foreign tribes to retreat. Whoosh! 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 Countless outsiders soared into the sky and vanished without a trace in the blink of an eye. The sacred ancestor of the foreign tribe cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. Then he took a step forward and disappeared from the world. The great battle ended just like that. Thank you for saving us, Ancestral Gregon. Greetings, Senior. Ching Tsang, Elder Lu, and the others flew over and bowed to the Ancestral Gregon. It was said that the Ancestral Gregon was the ancestor of all true dragons in the world. His seniority was too high as he had lived for countless years. No one knew how the ancestral dragon appeared, nor did they know how long the ancestral dragon had lived. At ease, the Ancestral Gregon turned into a burly old man in his human form. He waved his hand casually and appeared in front of Lu Ming in a flash. He looked at Lu Ming carefully. At this moment, Lu Ming was trying his best to recover. Just now, he had used up too much energy to resist the third bloodline. His autonomous realm energy was about to dry up. In the end, he managed to hold on. External energy continued to pour into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's autonomous realm energy was quickly recovering. After a while, Lu Ming let out a long breath and stood up. The third bloodline has finally left. Lu Ming felt extremely relaxed. The third bloodline was like a ticking time bomb that threatened Lu Ming's safety. Although it could help Lu Ming at times, Lu Ming would rather not have it. Now that the third bloodline, which was the bloodline of Saint Ancestor Shaoxen, had left, Lu Ming felt relaxed. It was as if a huge rock had been lifted from his heart. When he opened his eyes, Lu Ming saw the Ancestral Gregon. Although the Ancestral Gregon turned into a human, his aura remained the same. Lu Ming quickly stood up and cupped his fists. Junior Lu Ming greets, Ancestral Gregon. Haha, there's no need to be so polite. Ancestral Gregon laughed heartily. When he looked at Lu Ming, his face was full of smiles. I didn't expect it. I really didn't expect that there would be someone in this world who could control this kind of power. Ancestral Gregon sighed. Lu Ming was stunned. When the ancestral dragon mentioned the power of the master, it was obvious that he was referring to the power that Lu Ming controlled. Name? You. Oh. Lu Ming asked curiously. I know, but this power is too rare. Even there, it's very rare. I'm not very clear about the specifics. Ancestral Gregon said. He then looked at Lu Ming and said, You have to cultivate well. If you continue, you might be able to break the limit and step into the supreme realm. Yes. Lu Ming nodded. Then Ancestral Gregon looked at the hell-suppressing realm's Elder Lu and the others and said, Staying in the fiend god world for too long is not a good idea. Instead, it will give the foreign races an opportunity to take you down one by one. Why don't you come with me to the heavenly world? Senior, we also want to go to the heaven realm. But there are countless people in the prison suppression realm. We can't bring them over. Yes, although a peak heavenly emperor doesn't need a space tunnel and can directly tear space, cross the long void, and enter other worlds, they can only move alone. They can't bring anyone with them. Even if there's a grotto heaven treasure, it will be crushed when crossing the long void. The elders of the prison suppression realm spoke one after another. To be able to go to the heaven realm and meet up with the powerhouses of the heaven realm, they were naturally willing to join forces. But even if a peak heavenly emperor could directly cross the long void and enter another world, they could not bring anyone with them. Even low-level emperor weapons could not be brought along. In the long void process, they would be torn apart by the void storm. Even if they were placed in the sea of consciousness, it would be useless. Therefore, even if there was a grotto heaven treasure, it would be useless to put people inside. Similarly, Cultivating a small world was also useless. It turns out that a peak heavenly emperor can directly cross the long void from one world to another. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He thought of when he was captured by Marojia. At that time, Marojia directly passed through the void and took him down. Marojia was a peak heavenly emperor. This I naturally understand. It couldn't in the past, but it doesn't mean it can't now. The ancestral Gragon smiled and explained, now the 9 prison suppression steels are gathered. As long as they are controlled, they can form a prison suppression space that can accommodate countless people. With the level of the prison suppression steels, even if they cross the long void, they can still block it. Really, that's great. Haha. The people of the prison suppression realm were all ecstatic. Back then, I was an old friend of the prison suppression steels, and I also know some ways to control the prison suppression steels. Let's do it now, the ancestral Gragon said. After saying that, the ancestral Gragon's body emitted a powerful aura, and his hands quickly formed seals. Buzz! The 9 prison suppression steels began to vibrate and then slowly floated in the air. The 9 prison suppression steels resonated with each other and gave birth to a space. That was the prison suppression space, and the Grotto Heaven treasure had the same meaning. Enter! The ancestral Gragon growled, and a powerful suction force was produced. The entire prison suppression realm, the endless population, all flew into the prison suppression space. Finally, Lu Ming, Qing Tsang, Elder Lu, and the others also entered the prison suppression space. The prison suppression space was also a world, vast and boundless with endless mountains. We didn't notice it before. Elder Lu and the others were overjoyed and began to arrange people to let the endless population of the prison suppression realm live and reproduce here. As for the ancestral Gragon, he kept the 9 prison suppression steels and took a step forward. The space directly split open, and he traveled through the void towards the heaven boundary. After an unknown period of time, the ancestral Gragon's figure appeared in the prison suppression space. I'm already in the heaven boundary. The ancestral Gragon smiled. So fast! Everyone was overjoyed and at the same time shocked. The ancestral Gragon's strength was unfathomable. He had returned to the heaven boundary from the evil god boundary in such a short time. Follow me. The ancestral Gragon waved his hand, and Lu Ming, Qing Tsang, Lu Zhonglai, and the others disappeared. In the next moment, they appeared in the sky. Standing in the sky and looking around, they found that under their feet was an incomparably huge mountain. There were many buildings on the huge mountain. Around the huge mountain, there were several huge cities. So many experts. Lu Ming was shocked to find that there were terrifying auras coming from the huge mountain. There were heavenly emperors, and there were also great emperors. The number was shocking. Chapter 2447. Where is this place? Is this the foundation of the heavenly realm? Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. In the past, when he was in Two World City, the number of masters he encountered could not be compared to the foreign races, or even the purgatory realm. Lu Ming had always been curious about how they could fight against the foreign races with such strength. Lu Ming also guessed whether the heavenly realm had hidden its strength. Now he realized that it was very likely that this was the hidden strength of the heavenly realm. This is where I live. It's an independent world, called the Lair of Zulong by the outside world. Ancestral Gragon explained. Lair of Zulong. Lu Ming remembered the name. At this moment, a rainbow light flew out from the mountain peak below and appeared in front of everyone in a flash. It was a middle-aged man with a burly figure, wearing a scale armor, majestic and handsome. 5 elements, haha, long time no see. Seeing this middle-aged man, Qing Tsang laughed and greeted him. When the middle-aged man saw Qing Tsang, he stared and seemed a little surprised. Then he smiled and said, So it's you, Lion. After so many years, I thought you had died long ago. Bah, if your Qilin is not dead, how could I be dead? Ching Song deliberately pulled a long face. He was very happy to see an acquaintance. 5 elements. Qilin, is it the 5 elements Qilin of the top 10 battle beasts? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Among the top 10 battle beasts, there was a 5 elements Qilin, which was definitely powerful. Seeing that the other party was so familiar with Ching Song, it was most likely so. Greetings, Senior. 5 elements bowed to ancestral Gragon. 5 elements, you came at the right time. I've brought all the people from the Purgatory realm. Go and arrange a place for them to live. Ancestral Gragon said, and then waved his hand. 9 Purgatory tablets flew out and flew to Elder Lu. Elder Lu reached out and caught them. Okay, everyone, please follow me. 5 elements waved his hand and flew in a direction. Elder Lu and the others followed. At the scene, only ancestral Gragon, Lu Ming, Ching Song, and a few people from the heavenly realm were left. Senior, we will take our leave. Senior Ancestral Gragon, I also have to leave. Those people bade farewell to Ancestral Gragon. They were people from the heaven realm and had been captured by the outsiders for countless years. They missed their family and friends here. Now that they met, they naturally wanted to see them as soon as possible. Go ahead. There are teleportation portals in those cities. You can use them to leave. Ancestral Dragon said. Everyone saluted and then said to Lu Ming, Brother Lu Ming, you have our teleportation token in your hand. If you need anything, feel free to send us a message. All right, Lu Ming nodded. Then those people left one after another. Only Lu Ming and Ching Song remained. Senior, I also have to take my leave. Lu Ming also wanted to leave. When he was captured by the outsiders, Dandin, Bubbles, and his other friends and family must have been very worried. After all, it had been more than 100 years. He couldn't wait to go back and see them. 100 years was an extremely long time for him. An ordinary person wouldn't have such a long lifespan. I wonder how his parents are doing? And how are the others? Lu Ming, don't be in a hurry to go back. Stay here for a few months. After a few months, I have something to tell you. Ancestral Gragon said. A few months? That's good. Lu Ming nodded. More than 100 years had passed. A few months didn't matter. During this time, you can take a walk around the lair of Zulong. Ancestral Gragon said. Lu Ming, you can walk around here. I have to go. At this time, Ching Song said. He then bade farewell to Lu Ming and Ancestral Gragon and left. Lu Ming and Ancestral Gragon landed in front of a palace in the giant mountain below. Ancestral Gragon gave Lu Ming a dragon-shaped token. With this token, Lu Ming could freely enter and leave the lair of Zulong. After that, Ancestral Gragon entered a large hall, presumably to cultivate. Lu Ming, on the other hand, wandered around. This giant mountain was really huge. It stretched for millions of miles. There were caves, palaces, and so on everywhere. Lu Ming wandered around casually. In front of many caves and palaces, he could feel powerful auras. Many of them exuded the aura of the Heavenly Emperor realm. The Heavenly realm has been passed down from the desolate, archaic, and ancient antiquity. After countless years, the number of experts accumulated is astonishing. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. In addition to the experts of the prison suppression realm, only then would they have the capital to fight against the foreign tribes. Lu Ming was wandering around when suddenly he heard a violent roar in front of him. Someone was fighting. Lu Ming was curious and strode forward. In front of him there was a huge palace. In front of the palace there was a square. 2 figures were fighting fiercely in the square. Sword chi surged. True Emperor realm. From a distance, Lu Ming could feel that the cultivation of the 2 figures was in the true Emperor realm. On this mountain, there were very few true emperors. Lu Ming guessed that they should be the disciples of some expert. That is, Lu Ming approached. When he saw the appearance of the 2 figures fighting, he couldn't help but be stunned. The two were acquaintances. Moreover, they were acquaintances that he hadn't seen for a long time. Xianxiang and Xianfeng. Lu Ming was really dumbfounded. He didn't expect to meet Xianxiang and Xianfeng here. Back then, when Lu Ming was still cultivating in the eastern Xian region, Xianxiang and Xianfeng's families were exterminated by the Heavenly Corpse sect. Because of the ancient desolate city, they were stranded on a small island in the heavenly realm. On that small island, Lu Ming was besieged by the evil god tribe. In the end, the Xian family ancestor woke up and killed the evil god tribe. He brought Lu Ming, Xianxiang, and Xianfeng back to the Yuan realm. Later, the Xian family ancestor left with Xianxiang and Xianfeng. After this departure, Lu Ming never saw them again. Later, Lu Ming sent people to search for them in the divine, desolate continent. In the Yuan continent, he also sent people to inquire about them. There was never any news of Xianxiang and the rest. He never expected to meet Xianxiang and the rest here. It seems that the Xian family ancestor is definitely a terrifying existence. Lu Ming thought in his heart. His current knowledge was naturally different from the past. There were many things that he could infer. The Xian family ancestor was very likely seriously injured in the battle with the foreign tribes in the ancient times. He fell into the Yuan realm along with the ancient desolate city. He was an extremely powerful existence. From the way he met Dandan and his attitude towards Dandan, it could be seen. At this moment, Xianxiang and Xianfeng also felt that someone was approaching. They couldn't help but stop and look over. When they saw Lu Ming, the two of them were subconsciously stunned. Then, their eyes widened and their mouths opened wide. They were dumbfounded. Lu Ming, the two of them were obviously very surprised. They didn't expect to meet Lu Ming here. Ha ha ha, Xianxiang, Xianfeng, long time no see. How have you been? Lu Ming had already come to his senses. He laughed loudly and flew over. Big brother Lu Ming, it's really you. Xianxiang greeted him with a smile. Of course it's me. It's the real deal. Chapter 2448. The two sides had not seen each other for a long time. It had been more than 100 years. Now that they met, they had endless topics to talk about. Even Xianfeng, who had always been serious, had a smile on his face. During the conversation, Lu Ming learned about the experiences of Xianxiang and the others over the years. Back then, the Xian family's patriarch brought Xianxiang and Xianfeng with him. After they parted ways with Lu Ming, they had been traveling everywhere. They had been to various places, barged through dangerous and forbidden lands, and trained everywhere. After more than 10 years, the Xian family's patriarch brought them to the heaven realm. In ancient times, the Xian family ancestor was an extremely powerful existence in the heaven realm. Naturally, he knew about the lair of Zulong. After coming to the heaven realm, the Xian family ancestor took Xianxiang and Xianfeng to the lair of Zulong and settled down there. The Xian family ancestor focused on cultivation and recovery. He would take time to guide Xianxiang and Xianfeng. This stay lasted for more than 100 years. Although Xianxiang and Xianfeng's talents were not particularly good, the cultivation environment was too good. The lair of Zulong, the place where the ancestral dragon lived, had the best cultivation environment in the heaven realm. In addition to the guidance of the Xian family ancestor and the accumulation of a large amount of resources, the two of them cultivated to the true emperor realm in more than 100 years. Lu Ming also briefly talked about his experience. Although it was just a simple explanation, the two of them were still shaken to the core. Lu Ming had nowhere to go in the lair of Zulong, so he settled down here. Occasionally, Xianxiang and Xianfeng would find Lu Ming to spar. Lu Ming just casually attacked, and the two of them were no match for him. The two of them admired Lu Ming even more. The two of them had the best cultivation environment and the guidance of experts. However, Lu Ming relied on himself and walked step by step to get to where he was today. His achievements were far above the two of them. Naturally, the two of them admired him. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. On this day, Lu Ming received a message from the ancestral dragon, asking him to wait at the place where the ancestral dragon was cultivating in seclusion. Lu Ming bid farewell to Xian Xiang and Xian Feng and walked towards the palace at the peak of the mountain. When Lu Ming arrived, he found that there was no one in sight. Lu Ming began to wait. Not long after, Lu Ming heard footsteps. He looked over and saw a few people walking over. There were a total of 4 people, 2 old men, 1 middle-aged man, and 1 young man. Dragon Chi, they are all true dragons. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He could sense Dragon Chi from the 4 of them. He had the bloodline of the 9 dragons, and his spirit body was the dragon god battle body. He was very sensitive to dragon aura and could easily sense it. "It's you, brat!" Seeing Lu Ming, the young man strode over with an unfriendly look in his eyes. Lu Ming was baffled. This was the first time he had met this young man, and he hadn't offended him. Why was this young man so hostile towards him the moment they met? Was he crazy? Lu Ming frowned. However, this was the lair of Zulong, and the other party was a true dragon, most likely related to the ancestral dragon. He couldn't be bothered to lower himself to their level. The dragon marrow pool opens once every 10,000 years. This time, only I am qualified to enter the dragon marrow pool. I really don't understand why the ancestral dragon wants you to enter the dragon marrow pool. Is the ancestral dragon, the young man said indignantly. Ao Wan, watch your words. Before the young man could finish, an old man hurriedly interrupted him. The young man's name was Ao Wan. His expression changed slightly, and he stopped speaking. However, his eyes became colder as he stared at Lu Ming. Brat, the dragon marrow pool opens once every 10,000 years. Only the most talented can enter. I am the most talented dragon in the past 10,000 years. What right do you have to enter? Dragon marrow pool? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the ancestral dragon wanted him to wait for a few months so that he could enter the dragon marrow pool? It was very likely. Otherwise, this young man from the dragon tribe wouldn't be so hostile towards him. The ancestral dragon has his reasons for letting anyone in. Lu Ming said, "Are you saying that your talent is stronger than mine?" The young man said coldly. His eyes flickered coldly. Lu Ming smiled without answering the question, but his intention was clear. "Ha ha ha, very well, very well. Since someone is so confident in front of me, I would like to see what you've got. I challenge you to a duel. Come at me." Ao Wan burst out laughing as a powerful aura burst out from his body. 6-star martial monarch. This Ao Wan's cultivation was shockingly outstanding. That being said, Ao Wan had been cultivating for quite some time. Lu Ming speculated that he had been cultivating for at least a few thousand years. As a matter of fact, Ao Wan had been cultivating for over 5,000 years. It was extremely rare to be able to cultivate to the 6-star martial monarch realm in just over 5,000 years. He would be ranked at the top even on the longevity ranking of the non-human tribes. He was definitely a rare genius. No wonder he was so confident. The 2 old men of the true dragon tribe and the middle-aged, bulky man watched on expressionlessly. They had no intention of stopping him. "You are no match against me." Lu Ming shook his head slightly. With his current cultivation, he was not interested in a 6-star martial monarch realm cultivator. He was telling the truth, but Ao Wan was completely enraged. "Shameless! I would like to see what you've got." Ao Wan was enraged. He stomped his foot and charged at Lu Ming at lightning speed. His claw twisted and grabbed at Lu Ming. The claw struck out, causing the void to explode. Its power was shockingly strong. Immemorial path of beast. Lu Ming was startled. This Ao Wan did not cultivate the path of beast, but the immemorial path of beast. Whoosh! Lu Ming put his fingers together like a sword and pierced toward the other party's claw. It was like a real unparalleled divine sword, fast as lightning and unparalleled in sharpness. Bang! Lu Ming's finger collided with Aol Wan's claw, resulting in a great explosion. Aol Wan's figure shuddered violently as if he had been electrocuted before he was sent flying. Immemorial path of body cultivator. Aol Wan wore a dark expression. Lu Ming had only used the strength of his flesh. He had assumed that Lu Ming was a body cultivator who purely cultivated his flesh. Roar! A dragon's roar shook the sky as Aol Wan transformed into a true dragon. His body was winding as he lunged at Lu Ming with his claws. 5 dragon claws slammed at Lu Ming continuously. The dragon claws were covered in a layer of terrifying beast force. Aol Wan's strength had reached its peak after transforming into a true dragon. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He had already shown mercy, but his opponent did not know when to stop. Therefore, he could not blame him for being merciless. Whoosh! Lu Ming's muscles shuddered as he dashed forward and threw out punches. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming's fists collided with Aol Wan's dragon claws. Each collision caused Aol Wan's figure to shudder violently and be knocked back. After a few exchanges, Aol Wan was knocked back over 100 li, completely suppressed by Lu Ming. What a powerful body! This person has already cultivated his body to the peak of the great emperor realm. The middle-aged man muttered with a dark expression. Aol Wan was one of his nephews. At this moment, Lu Ming attacked. He grabbed one of Aol Wan's dragon claws and smashed it onto the ground. Roar! Chapter 2449. Stop! By the side, that middle-aged man roared loudly, his body rushing out explosively, grabbing towards Lu Ming with a claw. A terrifying power crushed over towards Lu Ming. Very clearly, this person was a Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouse. Lu Ming's expression changed, flinging Aol Wan out with a fling. His body retreated wildly, avoiding the middle-aged man's attack. Sixth uncle, teach him a lesson for me. Teach him a ruthless lesson for me. Aol Wan stabilized his figure and roared loudly. The middle-aged man looked at Lu Ming and said, "Little brother looks young, but your cultivation is so profound. Truly admirable. I'm also eager to see a prey. How about, little brother, accompany me for a few moves?" Hoo-hoo! Lu Ming smiled coldly. Beating the young one, the old one came out. He only displayed the power of the fleshy body just now. The realm that he displayed was peak great emperor, while the middle-aged man was a heavenly emperor. Although he was a 1-star heavenly emperor, he was also far above peak great emperor. Now he actually asked Lu Ming to exchange a few moves with him. This was clearly bullying. However, just a 1-star heavenly emperor. Why would Lu Ming be afraid? A hint of an inexplicable smile appeared at the corners of Lu Ming's mouth, and he said with a nod, "All right, Senior's invitation. How can Junior dare to refuse?" Agreed? The middle-aged man, as well as those 2 old men, were all taken aback. They originally even thought that Lu Ming would not dare to accept the challenge, and then retreat in the face of difficulties, taking the initiative to give up on entering the dragon marrow pool. They did not expect that Lu Ming actually agreed. A trace of cold light flashed across in the depths of the middle-aged man's eyes. Then he would seize this opportunity and teach Lu Ming a good lesson. Lu Ming was someone that ancestral dragon took a fancy on. He naturally did not dare to have killing intent towards Lu Ming, but there was no harm in teaching him a lesson a little. Haha, little brother is really heroic. Then pay attention. The middle-aged man smiled and suddenly took a step forward. His body rushed towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. Then he clawed at Lu Ming. He had already used 80% of his strength in this attack. He was confident that he could defeat a peak great emperor easily. Boom! Lu Ming also threw a punch at the middle-aged man. He actually dares to take it head-on. What a hothead! The middle-aged man felt disdain in his heart. A peak great emperor actually dared to clash head-on with a heavenly emperor. What was it if not foolish? Bang! Their attacks collided. At this moment, Lu Ming's fist emitted a dazzling purple-gold radiance, the Tao of Sovereign. In the instant that the two of them collided, Lu Ming erupted with the Tao of a sovereign. The middle-aged man's expression instantly changed. His eyeballs almost popped out from their sockets as he wore an astounded expression. At this moment, he felt an incomparably horrifying power surge towards him. At the critical moment, he unleashed his full strength, but it was already too late. With an intense rumble, the middle-aged man's body was like a broken sack flying out horizontally. He flew out 1,000 miles before stabilizing his figure. A mouthful of fresh blood sprayed out, and one of his arms was already bent out of shape. What? By the side, Aolwan, as well as the two old men, were all stunned. One move. Lu Ming actually only used one move and sent the middle-aged man flying out horizontally, vomiting blood from his mouth. The middle-aged man was a heavenly emperor. The few people's minds could not wrap around it all of a sudden. Lu Ming was not surprised in the slightest. Him erupting with the power of sovereign right now was sufficient to suppress and even kill a one-star heavenly emperor. And just now, the middle-aged man was naturally not Lu Ming's match due to his carelessness. Roar! The middle-aged man roared angrily, his body transforming into a true dragon. Vast dragon pressure spread out, pouncing towards Lu Ming. He did not believe that if he erupted with his full strength, he still could not take down Lu Ming. Lu Ming's cultivation was clearly just great emperor realm. The enormous dragon body instantly pounced above Lu Ming's head, really looking for a thrashing. Lu Ming opened his mouth coldly, his entire body shrouded in purple gold light, akin to a divine spirit that ruled the world. Swoosh! He turned into a purple gold light and rushed towards the other party. At the same time, the purple gold light condensed into a long spear. This was a long spear condensed with the Tao of Sovereign. It was sturdy and immortal, indestructible. Bang! Lu Ming's spear lashed out. This spear did not just have the power of the Tao of Sovereign, it also had the power of the fleshy body. The middle-aged man roared angrily, the dragon horns on his dragon head emitting a resplendent light, bursting forth with two beams of divine light, slashing towards Lu Ming like heavenly blades. At the same time, his dragon claws continuously grabbed out, converging into a golden dragon claw, grabbing towards Lu Ming. Several attacks burst out at the same time. The middle-aged man had already used all his strength. However, when his attack collided with Lu Ming's long spear, his expression changed. His attacks collapsed continuously. Lu Ming's long spear destroyed his attacks, like breaking rotten wood, and whipped towards him. The middle-aged man's dragon body shrank rapidly, and he frantically retreated, but he could not avoid Lu Ming's attack at all. Lu Ming's long spear struck his waist. The middle-aged man screamed as his body was sent flying tens of thousands of miles away, smashing into a barren mountain, smoke and dust filling the air. Hiss, Aolwan and the two old men gasped. This time, the middle-aged man could be said to have used all his strength, but he was still sent flying by Lu Ming's spear. It was a complete suppression. Where did this young man come from? His strength was too shocking. After a long while, they finally reacted. It's just a spar. You're too heavy-handed. One of the old men said coldly, He's not dead. Lu Ming curled his lips, not taking it seriously. You! The old man's face was somewhat gloomy. Enough! At this moment, a voice sounded. It was the voice of the ancestral dragon coming from the palace. Following that, a figure appeared in the air. This figure was not a physical body, but a projection of the ancestral dragon. Greetings, ancestor. Aolwan and the two old men's expressions changed as they stood up and bowed. Lu Ming is someone I have my eyes on. Do you have any objections to my decision? The ancestral dragon glanced at Aolwan and the two old men. The expressions of the three changed drastically as they hurriedly lowered their heads and said, "We dare not! We dare not!" "Then are you doubting my judgment?" The ancestral dragon said again. "No, ancestor, definitely not. Ancestor's judgment is like a torch." The two old men hurriedly said. Aolwan did not dare to say anything. If Lu Ming was really a trash, for the sake of the dragon marrow pool, he would have to fight for it no matter what. But now, the strength that Lu Ming displayed was seriously too shocking. Not to mention, even a heavenly emperor was insta-killed by Lu Ming. It was too terrifying. Let me tell you guys, Lu Ming has cultivated for less than 200 years until now. The ancestral dragon said again. What? Less than 200 years? With this, Aolwan and the two old men were almost frightened to death. They would never doubt that the ancestral dragon would use this to lie to them. Heavens, cultivating for less than 200 years and could crush a heavenly emperor. What kind of monster was this? There was actually such a person in the world. No wonder the ancestral dragon chose Lu Ming and let him enter the dragon marrow pool. Now, Aolwan was docile, not daring to let out a fart. Chapter 2450. Lu Ming? Lu Ming? Could he be the Lu Ming who was hailed as the #1 prodigy of the younger generation in the Heaven world and Yuan world, the one who became an emperor with many laws? One of the old men whispered. Suddenly, his expression changed as he recalled something. That's right. Ancestral Gragon nodded. It's him, it's actually him. Aolwan and the two old men were shocked. If you have no objections, you may leave. Ancestral Gragon waved his hand. Yes. The two old men and Aolwan bowed and retreated, flying tens of thousands of miles away. They helped the middle-aged man up and left quickly. Lu Ming, come with me. Ancestral Gragon smiled faintly, then turned and flew to the right. Lu Ming touched his nose and smiled bitterly. He guessed that Ancestral Gragon already knew about the previous situation, but deliberately did not show up. He wanted to let Lu Ming take action, let Lu Ming show his strength, so that Aolwan and the others would not be convinced. Following Ancestral Gragon, they circled around and came to a valley. The entrance of the valley was covered by a layer of light. Obviously, there was a grand formation sealing this place. Ancestral Gragon waved his hand and the grand formation opened. Lu Ming walked in. There was a vortex in the valley. Lu Ming, go in. Behind the vortex is the dragon marrow pool. There is the essence of the dragon marrow that is naturally born between heaven and earth. It only opens once every 10,000 years. If you absorb the essence of the dragon marrow pool, it will be enough to bring your physical body one step closer to the heavenly emperor realm. Ancestral Gragon said, "It can let my physical body break through to the heavenly emperor realm?" Lu Ming was shocked. This was incredible. His 7 divine mystic art was now at the late stage of the 5th level. If he wanted to cultivate to the 6th level, he would need top-notch treasures. Even if Lu Ming was extremely talented, it would be difficult for him to break through without thousands of years of cultivation. Now, he could rely on the dragon marrow pool to break through. It could be seen how valuable the dragon marrow pool was. No wonder Aolwan wanted to find trouble with Lu Ming. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming solemnly bowed to the ancestral dragon. You don't have to thank me. The situation is urgent. Although Saint Ancestor Shak-Xian is still alive, Mo will find a way to help him recover. Also, that place is about to open. You are the only variable now. You must improve your strength as soon as possible. Ancestral Dragon said, his eyes filled with worry. That place is about to open? The only variable. Lu Ming was puzzled. What does this mean? Also, what did the foreign race's divine ancestor mean by splitting open the sky? Lu Ming realized that as his cultivation increased, he knew more and more, but there were also more and more things that he didn't know. There seemed to be many secrets in this world that he did not understand. However, Ancestral Gragon was clearly unwilling to say more. He said, "Go in." "Yes." Lu Ming nodded, then stepped forward and entered the vortex. In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared in a strange place. This was an underground cave. It was very wide. The moment Lu Ming entered, he heard waves of dragon roars. Lu Ming looked around the underground cave and saw an extremely strange scene. The walls of the cave were covered with dragon-shaped markings. These markings did not look like they had been artificially carved. Instead, they looked more like they were naturally formed. They were vivid and lifelike. Also, there were some spiritual herbs and sacred herbs growing around the cave. They were all in the shape of dragons, like small true dragons that crawled everywhere. In the middle of the cave, there was a small pool with some golden liquid inside. Waves of dragon roars were coming from the pool. Lu Ming took a look and discovered that there were 9 golden true dragons swimming in the pool. No, they were not true dragons. They were condensed from energy, and the essence that permeated the air was extremely rich. Amazing, really amazing. The dragon marrow pool is formed naturally. Nature is really amazing. Lu Ming sighed. Then he took off his clothes and entered the dragon marrow pool. He sat cross-legged. The water of the dragon marrow pool was just above Lu Ming's head. As soon as Lu Ming entered the dragon marrow pool, the pool water turned into small true dragons and desperately drilled into Lu Ming's body. Immediately, Lu Ming began to circulate the 7 gods' mysterious art and began to absorb the energy in the dragon marrow pool to refine his body. The energy in the dragon marrow pool was absorbed by Lu Ming and seeped into Lu Ming's every cell. Lu Ming's body was rapidly improving. It was at least a few hundred times faster than usual. Lu Ming cultivated wholeheartedly, forgetting everything. He forgot about time. He cast everything aside and focused on cultivation. Time flew by. Day by day, month by month passed. The water in the dragon marrow pool was also slowly decreasing. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. Roar! Suddenly, a dragon roar came from Lu Ming's body. Following that, a series of bone-trembling sounds came from his body. The trembling sounds became stronger and stronger. The aura on Lu Ming's body also became stronger and stronger. Bang! In the end, it formed a large explosion. A horrifying aura pervaded inside the cave. Heavenly Emperor. This was the pressure of a heavenly emperor. Lu Ming finally broke through, breaking through to the 6th level of the 7 gods' mysterious art. Lu Ming's physical strength completely reached the heavenly emperor realm. Now, Lu Ming could suppress ordinary 1-star heavenly emperors just by relying on the power of the physical body. Adding in the power of the Tao of Sovereign, Lu Ming's strength skyrocketed again. Following that, Lu Ming continued to cultivate for 2 months, consolidating his cultivation a little before ending cultivation. Huff! Lu Ming let out a long breath. His lungs puffed, and a dragon roar emitted from his throat. Dragons and I are really fated. Lu Ming smiled, then got up, sensing the situation within his body. His entire body was filled with the power to destroy heaven and earth. Furthermore, blood energy surged like a great river, surging to the extreme. Heavenly Emperor realm. Cultivating for more than 100 years, Lu Ming finally stepped into the Heavenly Emperor realm. However, it was the Tao of body cultivation that took the lead. Don't know how long has passed. Lu Ming muttered, then left this place. When he walked out of the vortex, light and shadow flashed in the air. Ancestral Dragon's projection appeared. Looks like you broke through. Ancestral Dragon said with a slight smile, "Many thanks, Senior." Lu Ming cupped his fists, then asked, Senior, I wonder how long I've been cultivating. 3 years. Ancestral Dragon said, 3 years, is it? Lu Ming muttered, Do you want to leave very much? Go on. If there's anything, I'll find you. Ancestral Dragon said, Yes. Lu Ming nodded. He was indeed anxious to return home. He wanted to go back and see how the situation was now. Immediately, Lu Ming followed Ancestral Dragon and left this place. Then, Lu Ming went to Xianfeng and Xianxiang. After bidding farewell to the two, Lu Ming came to an ancient city nearby, took the teleportation formation, and left the lair of Zulong. After leaving the lair of Zulong, Lu Ming appeared in the north of Taiching Sky Domain. Then Lu Ming took another teleportation formation and headed to Two World City. Chapter 2451. Upon returning to Two World City, Lu Ming immediately went to Hong Yu, Celestial Emperor. Lu Ming. Heavenly Emperor Hong Yu was pleasantly surprised to see Lu Ming. More than 100 years ago, Lu Ming was captured by the foreign races. Many people thought that Lu Ming was most likely dead. He never thought that Lu Ming would suddenly appear in Two World City after more than 100 years. Lu Ming, how did you come back? Heavenly Emperor Hong Yu was so excited that his voice was trembling. Lu Ming was quite touched. He briefly recounted what had happened over the past few years. Saint Ancestor Sha Xan, Foreign Races Saint Ancestor, Ancestral Dragon, Heavenly Emperor Hong Yu was incomparably shocked as if he was digesting this information. In the heaven world, there were many heavenly emperors who did not know of the ancestral dragon's existence. Heavenly Emperor Hong Yu was one of them. Now that he knew so many secrets, he naturally needed to digest them. Heavenly Emperor Hong Yu was shocked. He did not expect that Lu Ming had experienced so much in the evil god world. It could be said to be magnificent. Lu Ming, you broke through to the Heavenly Emperor realm? Heavenly Emperor Hong Yu sized up Lu Ming and felt that the vitality in Lu Ming's body was shocking. He could not help but widen his eyes. My physical body broke through. Fortunately, I received Senior Ancestral Dragon's help. Otherwise, it would take at least 1,000 years. Lu Ming said. Good. Heavenly Emperor Hong Yu said a few words. Senior, what's the situation now? Lu Ming asked. 3 years ago, a large number of experts suddenly appeared in our heaven world. They came to Two World City and another battlefield to participate in the war. They claimed to be from the hell-suppressing world. It seems like they came from the evil god world with you. With the addition of the experts from the hell-suppressing world, our heaven world's combat power increased greatly. In these few years, for some reason, the foreign races have holed up and did not take the initiative to fight. They became defensive. In these few years, we have been sending people out of the city to kill the foreign races' camp on the other side of the battlefield. There is still a large army attacking over there. Heavenly Emperor Hong Yu explained. The foreign races became defensive? Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. Logically speaking, even with the addition of the prison suppression realm, the overall strength of the heaven realm was still inferior to the foreign races. The outsiders wouldn't go so far as to hide and defend. Could it be that the foreign races are conserving their strength and waiting for Saint Ancestor Sha Xen to recover before launching an all-out attack? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he thought of this possibility. His expression turned serious. This was the most likely possibility. Lu Ming, some of your friends are also following the army to attack the outsiders. They want to capture an important member of the outsiders and get information about you. Celestial Emperor Hong Yu said. My friend. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It was very likely to be Dandan, Bubbles, and the others. Senior, I'll go take a look. Lu Ming said. Yes, be careful. Come with me. After he finished speaking, he flew towards the city wall. Is that Lu Ming? Nest, who did I see? Lu Ming? Wasn't Lu Ming captured by the foreign races? Why is he here? Could it be that everything is just a rumor? Along the way, those who saw Lu Ming were stunned and tongue-tied. More than 100 years ago, Lu Ming was captured by the foreign races and caused a huge commotion in the Grand Pure Heaven domain. Lu Ming's talent was too high and many people had high hopes for him. Who would have thought that he would be captured by the foreign races? That was a huge loss. Many people thought that Lu Ming had been captured by the foreign races for more than 100 years. Who would have thought that Lu Ming would appear in Two World City? Arriving at the city wall, Heavenly Emperor Hung, you ordered someone to open the array, and Lu Ming flew out. After flying out of Two World City, Lu Ming immediately burst out and flew towards the opposite side of the battlefield. His speed was so fast that the void kept exploding. So fast! Those who saw Lu Ming's speed were dumbfounded. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming disappeared from everyone's sight. With Lu Ming's current speed, it was too fast. Not long after, an endless army camp appeared in front of him. At this time, there was a great battle going on. On the heavenly world side, they took the initiative to attack the foreign races' camp. Both sides fought very fiercely. At this time, one of the foreign races' camps was attacked by the heavenly world's army. The commander of this heavenly world's army was Dandan. Dandan's cultivation back then had reached the peak Great Emperor realm. After more than 100 years of cultivation, Dandan had successfully broken through and reached the heavenly Emperor realm. Following Dandan were Bubble, Huangling, Long Chen, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others. After more than 100 years, everyone's cultivation had improved greatly. Most of them had stepped into the true Emperor realm. In addition, there were other experts from the heavenly world. Kill! Dandan roared and turned into a giant tortoise to fight a heavenly emperor of the foreign races. The two of them fought very fiercely. However, it was obvious that Dandan was stronger. The other party was completely suppressed by Dandan. There's a foreign race prince in this camp. We must capture him and ask for Lu Ming's whereabouts. We can even exchange him for Lu Ming. Dandan transmitted to everyone. When Lu Ming was captured, the other party had shouted that they could not harm Lu Ming's life. Therefore, they still had hope that he was still alive. Bubble and the others launched a fierce attack. Bubble's cultivation had also stepped into the Great Emperor realm and had reached the 3-star Great Emperor realm. Now, Bubble had mastered the Grand Tao and was even more proficient in the use of time and space. Her figure flickered, and a large number of outsiders were imprisoned. Some of the weaker ones had their time reversed, and their cultivation base regressed to a time when they were even weaker. Then they were easily killed. Even if they were great emperors, as long as their cultivation did not exceed Bubble's by too much, they would not be spared. In the depths of the camp, there was a purple-haired foreign race who was watching coldly. This person was actually someone that Lu Ming was familiar with, the foreign race Prince Mo Tianluo. Lu Ming's friend? Let's see how you will die. Mo Tianluo sneered and transmitted a message to the heavenly emperor who was fighting with Dandan. That heavenly emperor exchanged a few moves with Dandan before retreating. Retreat! Protect the prince! The foreign race heavenly emperor roared and retreated frantically. Want to leave? Stay! Dandan chased, but the other party's speed was fast too. He retreated to Mo Tianluo's side and brought Mo Tianluo to retreat. Dandan and the others chased and killed a large number of foreign races along the way. Stop! Suddenly, Dandan shouted for them to stop. Why aren't we continuing to chase? Someone was puzzled. It's better to be careful. The other party seems to be luring us here. If there is a trap, it will be troublesome. Let's retreat first. After all, Dandan had lived for a long time and was meticulous. The others nodded. Immediately, they did not continue to chase but retreated. In front, Mo Tianluo also stopped and his eyes were cold. Not chasing? Pretty meticulous. But do you think this will be useful? Kill! Emo Tianluo roared. Swish! Swish! Following Emo Tianluo's roar, the ground suddenly exploded and figures flew out. All of them were foreign races. Among them, 2 of them had shockingly strong auras and were actually Heavenly Emperor experts. Chapter 2452. Let's go! Danden's expression changed as he roared. Everyone quickly flew towards the back. Want to leave? Don't even think about leaving today. Emo Tianluo's expression was extremely malevolent. When he knew that these people were Lu Ming's friends, he had already planned to capture all of Lu Ming's friends in one fell swoop. In the evil god world, Lu Ming had made him lose face. He hated Lu Ming to the core. Chase after them and kill them. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. Emo Tianluo roared. Kill! Those foreign races chased after Danden and the rest in a frenzy. Their speed was shocking, especially the 3 heavenly emperors. They quickly closed the distance between them and Danden and the rest. Although Danden was a heavenly emperor, the rest weren't. Naturally, their speed couldn't be compared to the foreign races' heavenly emperors. Space-time, Bubbles transformed into his original form and his body became bigger. His body emitted a layer of strange light that enveloped everyone. Everyone felt their speed increase exponentially. At the same time, Danden appeared behind the army and waved his hands. Countless runes spread out and entered the space. Huge tortoise shells appeared in the air and blocked in front of the foreign races. Break! The 3 foreign race heavenly emperors were the first to catch up and unleashed a terrifying attack. Although Danden was strong, his cultivation was still at the 1-star heavenly emperor level. On the other hand, there were 3 of them, and one of them had reached the 2-star heavenly emperor level. Those who could cultivate to the heavenly emperor realm, which one was not a peerless prodigy. Wanting to jump ranks to battle was extremely difficult. Relying on Danden's talent, she could at most suppress opponents of the same level. Wanting to jump ranks to battle was still impossible. He was fighting 1 against 3, and naturally wasn't a match for them. The tortoise shells that he condensed were constantly shattered. Danden fought as he retreated. He continued to condense tortoise shells to buy time for Bubbles and the rest. Everyone was like a stream of light cutting across the sky. Soon, they flew out for tens of thousands of miles. They came to another army camp. Here, the Heaven Realm army was also attacking the foreign races. Bubbles and the rest were overjoyed. Everyone, come and help us! Ouyang Wushuang roared. Among this Heaven Realm army, there were also Heavenly Emperor Realm powerhouses. Seeing this scene, they were just about to come over and help. However, one powerful expert after another suddenly flew out of the outsider camp. You want to rescue them? Dream on. Hold them back. Those pagan warriors didn't care about their lives, entangling the Heaven Realm's army. Both sides were locked in a fierce battle, and it was hard for them to spare any time to help. Ha ha ha. You want others to save you? Stop dreaming. The strength of my evil god tribe is stronger than yours. Do you understand? Defend yourself during this period of time. Don't think that we are afraid of you. Emo Tianluo laughed loudly. And at this time, those 3 foreign race heavenly emperors had already broken through Danden's attacks consecutively and were nearing Danden. Don't think I'm afraid of you. Kill. Danden was enraged. It opened its mouth and spat out a small pagoda. This small pagoda emitted a vast amount of pressure. Heavenly Tao soldiers. Back on the Void Sacred Island, Danden had been given 4 Heavenly Tao soldiers. However, with Danden's current cultivation, he could only control 1 Heavenly Tao soldier at most. It's a Heavenly Tao soldier. Scatter. The 3 foreign race Heavenly Emperor's expressions changed and they scattered. Bang! The Heavenly Tao soldier shook and rumbled forward. That 2-star Heavenly Emperor rushed over, brandishing a battle axe and colliding heavily with the Heavenly Tao soldier. With a violent tremor, the two-star heavenly emperor was forced back repeatedly. As for the small pagoda, it was also sent flying back. Dandan was a one-star heavenly emperor. When he controlled the heavenly Tao soldier, he could jump realms to fight against two-star heavenly emperors. Shwa, Shwa. At this time, the other two foreign race heavenly emperors rushed towards Bubble and the others. Dandan's expression changed. Bubble and the others didn't have any heavenly emperors. They weren't a match for the heavenly emperors. If the heavenly emperors rushed over, the consequences would be unimaginable. Dandan clenched his teeth and controlled the heavenly Tao soldier to attack those two heavenly emperors. Your opponent is me. That two-star heavenly emperor sneered and rushed over again, brandishing his battle axe, attacking Dandan. Dandan was helpless and could only control the heavenly Tao soldier to attack the other party. With Dandan's cultivation, even if he controlled the heavenly Tao soldier, he could at most resist a two-star heavenly emperor. He really couldn't stop the other two one-star heavenly emperors. Not good. You guys quickly run, scatter and run. Dandan roared. Now, if one could escape, it was one escape. Want to leave? None of you can leave. A foreign race heavenly emperor sneered. His speed was very fast. In an instant, he caught up to Bubble and the others and slapped out a palm. Block it. In the army, an old man roared. He had the cultivation of a peak great emperor. He erupted with full strength and attacked that foreign race heavenly emperor. In addition, there were more than a dozen experts who also attacking that heavenly emperor together. These dozen experts were all high-level great emperors. They were the elites of this army. Bang! Both sides' attacks collided. However, a heavenly emperor was a heavenly emperor after all. Even if more than a dozen high-level great emperors joined forces, they were still far from being a match for a heavenly emperor. On the side of the heavenly realm, more than a dozen high-level great emperors' bodies shook violently. They vomited blood and were thrown back, especially a few of the weaker ones. Their bodies exploded and they died on the spot. At this time, another foreign race heavenly emperor had already approached Bubble, Huangling, Longchen, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others. Fight! Fight it out with him! Ouyang Wushuang, Longchen, and the others' eyes turned red. Even if they died, they had to fight to the death. Whoosh! At this time, a purplish gold light flew over from afar. Fast, too fast! In the blink of an eye, the purplish gold light flew over. This was a purplish gold long spear. It was incomparably sharp and pierced towards that foreign race heavenly emperor. That foreign race heavenly emperor's face changed as he sensed danger. He roared and attacked with all his might, bombarding the purplish gold long spear. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion. The purplish gold long spear exploded. That foreign race heavenly emperor's body shook violently as he retreated a few hundred miles. One of his palms was trembling nonstop, and blood flowed out from it. We're saved! Bubble, Ouyang Wushuang, Longchen, and Huangling were overjoyed. It seemed like a senior from the heavenly realm had arrived. Who is it? The foreign race heavenly emperor roared. The person who will kill you. A cold voice was heard. Following that, a purplish gold light flashed, and a figure suddenly appeared from the void. Lu Ming? Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming! When they saw the figure, Huangling, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others were stunned at first. Their faces were filled with disbelief, and then they were overjoyed. It was actually Lu Ming. They actually saw Lu Ming here. Wasn't Lu Ming captured and sent to the evil god world? Why would he appear here? They wanted to capture an important person from the other party to inquire about Lu Ming. All of this was too unexpected. Then, did Lu Ming save them just now? Thinking of this, they were even more shocked. That spear light just now had forced a heavenly emperor to retreat and injure him. Big brother Lu Ming. Bubble cried out in surprise. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you brat, I knew you were fine. Ha ha ha. Chapter 2453. Lu Ming glanced at everyone and found that everyone was fine. He secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Lu Ming, it's you. Not far away. Mo Tianluo's eyes were incomparably cold, filled with malevolent killing intent as he stared at Lu Ming. After the battle of the hell-suppressing realm, the entire hell-suppressing realm disappeared. Mo Tianluo naturally knew that the people of hell-suppressing realm had come to the heaven realm. Mo Tianluo, what a coincidence. I'll send you on your way today. Lu Ming said coldly. Ha ha ha, what big words. Kill him for me. Mo Tianluo shouted and ordered his subordinates to kill Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming's combat power was strong and could even suppress the first prince, there were a few heavenly emperors here. Today he wanted Lu Ming to die here. Kill! Kill! The two one-star heavenly emperors shouted and charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming, be careful! Huangling and the rest couldn't help but exclaim. But Lu Ming's eyes were calm as a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. His body emitted purplish-gold light, condensing into a purplish-gold long spear. Buzz! His muscles vibrated as his body rushed towards one of the one-star heavenly emperors. His speed was extremely fast. Now that Lu Ming's physical body had broken through to the heavenly emperor realm, his muscles could vibrate billions of times in an instant. Wherever he passed, the void seemed to have turned into a black hole, shattering everything. Boom! The long spear swept out, sweeping towards that one-star heavenly emperor. This is when Lu Ming swept out with his spear. That foreign race heavenly emperor had an extremely terrifying feeling, as if he was going to be crushed by this spear. He roared hysterically and tried his best to erupt, wanting to block it, but it was all in vain. Bang! The foreign race heavenly emperor's body was like a sandbag, being smashed apart, exploding into tiny pieces and flying everywhere. Everyone's eyes couldn't help but widen. Not only were Dandan, Bubbles, Huangling, and the others shocked, but there was also a heaven realm army in the distance that was fighting with the foreign races. At this moment, they were also shocked to the extreme. That was a heavenly emperor. He was directly insta-killed by Lu Ming, exploding in the air. This kind of impact was seriously too strong. Mo Tianluo was even more dumbfounded. A few years ago in the Fiend God world, Lu Ming had challenged the 10,000 years list. Although he was strong, he was only slightly stronger than the first prince. Although he was invincible among great emperors, there was still a gap between him and the heavenly emperor. But how long had it been? Lu Ming was already able to blow up a heavenly emperor with a single shot. This kind of combat strength was too terrifying. The increase was also too fast, causing him to be alarmed. At this point, the other outsider Celestial Emperor was nearly scared to death. When he came to his senses, he began to back away frantically. It's too late to leave now, Lu Ming said coldly. His muscles trembled as he shot forward. Within a few breaths of time, he had caught up to the outsider. Save me! The outsider Celestial Emperor roared as he charged towards the two-star Heavenly Emperor. He wanted the two-star Heavenly Emperor to save him. However, Dandan was controlling the Heavenly Dao weapon with all his might, constantly attacking the other party, making it difficult for the other party to have a chance to help. And Lu Ming had already arrived. His spear swept out, enveloping a radius of 10,000 miles. The outsider Celestial Emperor was unable to dodge. He let out a roar of despair and fought back with all his might. But his cultivation was only a one-star Heavenly Emperor. How could he block Lu Ming's attack? The spear swept out, and he followed in the footsteps of the previous outsider, exploding in the air. Lu Ming flashed past and kept the other party's storage bracelet. Run, run, run! When Lu Ming charged towards the outsider, Mo Tianluo had already fled frantically. The other outsider armies followed him and fled frantically. All of you, stop him for me. Stop him for this prince. Do you hear me? Mo Tianluo ordered his subordinates, but no one listened to him. What a joke! Stopping to stop Lu Ming was a dead end. Who would be so foolish? And at this moment, Lu Ming was chasing after Mo Tianluo. Mo Tianluo was so frightened that he almost cried. He roared frantically, "Stop him! Stop him! How dare you defy this prince's orders? I will kill your entire clan. I will exterminate your 9 generations." But the other outsider races were running faster than him. "Seems like no one is helping you." A cold voice sounded behind Mo Tianluo. Mo Tianluo was so frightened that he jumped up. "Lu Ming, spare my life!" Mo Tianluo screamed. He was so frightened that he was out of his wits and didn't dare to resist. "You tried to kill me time and time again. You tried to kill my friends. Do you think it's possible for me to spare you?" Lu Ming sneered. His spear shook, and a terrifying force crushed towards Mo Tianluo. Mo Tianluo screamed miserably as his body turned into dust and he died. Boom! At this moment, that 2-star Heavenly Emperor went all out. He clashed with Dandan crazily and seized the opportunity to escape frantically. "Don't think of leaving," Dandan roared. He controlled the Heavenly Dao weapon and chased after the Heavenly Dao weapon. On the Heavenly Dao weapon, rays of powerful light burst out and blasted towards the outsider. Lu Ming also pushed his speed to the limit and chased after the outsider. "Kill! Kill all the outsider races!" At this moment, Bubbles, Ouyang Wushuang, and the rest led the army and chased after the outsider races that were escaping. Lu Ming's speed was extremely fast. In addition, that 2-star Heavenly Emperor was being chased tightly by Dandan. It was hard for him to fully display his speed. Soon, Lu Ming closed in on him. Swish! Lu Ming threw out the long spear that was condensed from the sovereign Dao towards that 2-star Heavenly Emperor. His speed was extremely fast. The 2-star Heavenly Emperor's third eye burst out with a destructive light, colliding with Lu Ming's long spear. Although he blocked it, his figure could not help but stagnate. In this way, Dandan seized the opportunity to catch up. He controlled the Heavenly Dao weapon. That small pagoda turned into a huge pagoda, emitting a vast Heavenly Dao pressure that suppressed the outsider. And in Lu Ming's hand, the great desolate spear appeared. Now, Lu Ming's physical body had already reached the Heavenly Emperor realm. He could completely unleash the power of the Heavenly Dao weapon. Lu Ming's muscles trembled in his palm, transmitting it to the great desolate spear. The great desolate spear also vibrated violently. A Heavenly Dao pressure pervaded out. Swish! Lu Ming rushed over, the great desolate spear stabbing out explosively. The 2-star Heavenly Emperor blocked Dandan's attack. Wielding a huge axe, he chopped at Lu Ming. Dang! A deafening rumble. The 2-star Heavenly Emperor's body shook violently. He retreated frantically, spitting out a mouthful of blood. One move and he was injured. Furthermore, cracks appeared on the battle axe in his hand. A 2-star Heavenly Emperor's combat power was indeed much stronger than a 1-star Heavenly Emperor. However, he did not have a Heavenly Dao weapon, and the current Lu Ming, just relying on his physical body and controlling the great desolate spear, was enough to battle a 2-star Heavenly Emperor. Coupled with the sovereign Dao, Lu Ming's combat power was completely above a 2-star Heavenly Emperor. Kill! Lu Ming roared and charged over once more. At the same time, Dandan also controlled the Heavenly Dao weapon and charged over. Being besieged by Lu Ming and Dandan, the other party was even less of a match. Even if he did his best, it was also useless. Chapter 2454. A 2-star Heavenly Emperor was killed, and the 3 Heavenly Emperors had completely fallen. As for Bubble and the rest, they led the army to chase after the foreign races for a while and killed a large number of them. The remaining foreign races escaped. Lu Ming, amazing. I didn't expect to be surpassed by you again." Dandan looked at Lu Ming with a gloomy face. Hee, isn't it normal to be surpassed by me? Who am I? The invincible genius of all time. In front of Dandan, Lu Ming's skin was even thicker than his. Sure enough, Dandan became even more unhappy, revealing a look of being dealt a blow. "Let's go. Let's continue killing the enemy." Lu Ming arrived and looked at the foreign race camp in the distance. There, a Heavenly Realm army was fighting with the foreign race army. Kill! Dandan gritted his teeth, wanting to vent his frustration with Lu Ming on the foreign races. Seeing Lu Ming and Bubble coming over, the foreign races were shocked and hurriedly retreated into the camp, activating their ray to resist. Lu Ming and Bubble arrived outside the camp. "Greetings, Heavenly Emperors." In the Heavenly Realm army, many people were respectful in their hearts. In this Heavenly Realm army, there were even some people who were more familiar with Lu Ming. For example, 2 of the Heavenly Realm's 9 absolutes were among them. But at this moment, they looked at Lu Ming with eyes full of reverence. It was obvious that Lu Ming had already stepped into the Heavenly Emperor realm. From now on, he was high and mighty. If they wanted to become a Heavenly Emperor, they didn't know how many years it would take and how many things they had to experience before they could do it. Their former opponent had already become a Heavenly Emperor, surpassing them by too much. They felt very complicated. "Everyone, there's no need to be polite." Lu Ming waved his hand casually. After saying that, Lu Ming's gaze swept across the foreign race camp. He discovered that other than activating their ray, most of the foreign races had actually retreated to the rear. Big brother Lu Ming. At this moment, Bubble and the rest also flew over. Bubble directly rushed into Lu Ming's arms. "Bubbles, you've grown up." Lu Ming patted Bubbles' head. After more than 100 years, Bubbles had finally grown up a little. She looked like a 7 or 8-year-old little girl and was even more adorable. Of course. Bubbles pouted, her little face blushing. "Let's leave this place and return to Two World City," Lu Ming said. He believed that what happened here would soon spread to the other races. At that time, even more powerful races would definitely come. With Lu Ming's current strength, coupled with the great desolate spear, even if he met a 3-star Heavenly Emperor, Lu Ming was confident that he could at least protect himself. However, it would be difficult to protect others. If a 4-star Heavenly Emperor level peerless powerhouse came, it would be hard for him to even protect himself. "All right, let's go back." Dandan nodded. The other army was also planning to return to Two World City. Everyone flew towards Two World City together. There were no accidents on the way. Not long after, they safely returned to Two World City. Good friends had not seen each other for many years, and naturally had many topics to talk about. Dandan, Bubbles, Huangling, and the rest were very curious about Lu Ming's experiences over the years. They pulled Lu Ming along to drink and chat. Lu Ming also briefly recounted his experiences over the past few years. Everyone who listened was shaken to their core. During this period, Lu Ming learned that Long Qin had also returned to the Divine Wilderness and married Xian Yanlin. Lu Ming was happy for him. Some of the grudges between him and the Xia family were also put aside as time passed. It was not until the next day that the crowd dispersed. Lu Ming came to a side courtyard and stayed there. He planned to return to the primordial realm in 2 days to visit his parents. However, just a day later, Dandan, Bubbles, Longchin, and the rest came to Lu Ming's side courtyard. "Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, look who we brought." Dandan laughed. "Who is it?" Lu Ming smiled and looked around. Then he saw a young man in the crowd. He seemed to be in his 20s. He had an imposing appearance and was extraordinarily handsome. He resembled Lu Ming quite a bit. "Shan Huang." Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Although more than 100 years had passed, Lu Ming immediately recognized that the young man was Lu Shenhuang through his aura. "Father!" Lu Shenhuang called out, his eyes full of surprise. Then, Lu Shenhuang walked over while holding the hand of a young woman. This woman was very beautiful and was not inferior to Huang Ling, Autumn Moon, and the rest. The woman was holding a little girl who was about 2 or 3 years old. She had 2 braids and was very cute. "Father!" The young lady blinked her big eyes and looked at Lu Ming curiously, calling out softly, "Cheer, call Grandpa." Lu Shenhuang looked at the little girl. "Grandpa, Grandpa," the little girl called out in a childish voice. What? Lu Ming was tongue-tied and stunned. It was obvious that this young woman was Lu Shenhuang's wife and the little girl was his daughter. He took a detour from the evil god realm, but he didn't expect that Lu Shenhuang had already married and had a daughter. "Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, are you stupid?" Dandan laughed. "Get lost." Lu Ming scolded Dandan and then looked at Lu Shenhuang and the others with a smile. Good, good, good." Lu Ming said a few good words, and his heart was filled with warmth. These were all his family. "Shenhuang, what are their names?" Lu Ming asked. "Father, she is called Mu Wanxian, and this little guy is called Lu Qi." Lu Shenhuang introduced. "Good, Lu Qi, cheer, come, let Grandpa hug you." Lu Ming reached out to Lu Qi. The little girl was not shy at all. She climbed onto Lu Ming and rolled around in Lu Ming's arms. Lu Ming carefully used his power of the world to support Lu Qi, afraid that she would fall. "She can start cultivating in 2 years." Lu Ming smiled and instructed Lu Shenhuang. "And I've been building her foundation with spiritual herbs. She can start cultivating in 2 years." Lu Shenhuang nodded. "Have you met your grandparents?" Lu Ming asked again. Lu Shenhuang paused for a moment and then shook his head. "No. Tomorrow, come with me to meet them." Lu Ming said. "Okay." Lu Ming and Shenhuang nodded. Everyone chatted and laughed. After a while, Dandan and the others left. Only Lu Ming, Lu Shenhuang, Mu Wanxian, and Lu Qi were left in the courtyard. The little girl had been nestled in Lu Ming's arms, unwilling to come out. "Little guy," Lu Ming smiled, and then his body emitted a purple gold light that enveloped Lu Qi. This was the power of the ruler. The power of the ruler was supreme. Lu Ming wanted to use the power of the ruler to build Lu Qi's foundation and improve her body. The power of the ruler was so mysterious that it could adjust Lu Qi's body to the best state. Lu Shenhuang and Mu Wanxian naturally knew what Lu Ming wanted to do. They stood quietly on the side and did not speak. After a full day, Lu Ming was finally done. Chapter 2455. "Shenhuang, how is your mother now?" Lu Ming hesitated for a moment and asked. That was what Lu Ming was most concerned about. "Mother is still the same as before." Lu Shenhuang said, When we return from the primordial realm, we'll go and find your mother." Lu Ming said, it was time to settle the matter of Xian Yinqing. Otherwise, Lu Ming would never be at ease. "Let's go." Lu Ming stood up, followed by Lu Shenhuang and the others, and headed towards the passage back to the primordial realm. Lu Ming had returned to the primordial realm several times, so he was already familiar with the way. Not long after, Lu Ming and the others returned to the primordial mountain of the primordial realm through the void passage. The primordial realm was still peaceful. Back then, the foreign races used the bones of the previous generation of space-time spirit mice to open a passage to the primordial realm. Fortunately, Lu Ming and the others discovered it. In that battle, Lu Ming was captured, but the Titan Longhorn Beetle and 9 Lives demonic silkworm arrived and rescued Dandan, Bubbles, and 2-1 and Lei. Then, they sent the news to the heavenly realm. The heavenly realm sent a large number of experts to guard the passage. The foreign races seemed to know that they could not do anything. In these years, they did not continue to open the passage, nor did they invade from there. Therefore, the primordial realm was still peaceful. Lu Ming led the others and flew towards Celestial City. Back then, the people of Dragon God Valley and the Dragon Alliance occupied the territories of the Han and He families, respectively. Later, the Chaos Palace sent some puppet experts to guard the two families, making the two families impregnable. In these years, they had developed steadily and many experts had emerged. The strength of Dragon God Valley and the Dragon Alliance was steadily increasing. In a huge courtyard, Lu Yuntian and Li Ping were chatting. Although more than 100 years had passed, the two of them had not aged. Instead, they were getting younger and younger. Lu Ming had left behind a large number of resources, although Li Ping's cultivation talent was poor. With a large number of resources and the guidance of some great emperors, her cultivation had still reached the martial emperor realm. Martial emperors could live for 10 to 20,000 years. Naturally, she looked very young. Sai Ming hasn't returned for over 100 years. I wonder how he is now. Li Ping sighed softly, her eyes filled with longing. Madam, young master is currently in seclusion. I believe that once he comes out, he will come back to see you. At the side, Chiu Yu said. Back then, they hadn't told Li Ping and Lu Yuntian that Lu Ming had been captured by the outsiders. They had only told them that Lu Ming was in seclusion. All these years, Autumn Moon had been by Li Ping and Autumn Moon's side. That's right, you're really a woman. You're already a martial emperor, but you don't have any experience. With Ming Er's current cultivation, it's normal for him to go into seclusion for 100 years. Lu Yuntian said to Li Ping, You're the only one with a big heart. Li Ping rolled her eyes at him. At this moment, the autumn moon seemed to have sensed something and looked up at the sky. The empty sky suddenly trembled, and a spatial crack appeared. From it, several figures walked out. It was Lu Ming and the others. The autumn moon was stunned. Then, her delicate body trembled and tears flowed down her cheeks. She whispered, young master is back. It's young master. The autumn moon knew that Lu Ming had been captured by the outsiders. Naturally, she was extremely worried. Now that she saw Lu Ming, it would be strange if she wasn't excited. Hearing the autumn moon's words, Li Ping and Lu Yuntian also looked up at the sky. Ming, the two of them were overjoyed. Let's go down. Lu Ming's face was full of smiles. He then stepped down and landed in the courtyard. Lu Shenhuang and the others followed him. Father, mother. Lu Ming's face was full of smiles. Ming, you're finally out. Li Ping was also very excited. As she spoke, she looked at Lu Shenhuang and the others and couldn't help but be stunned. This was because Lu Shenhuang and Lu Ming were too similar. Ming, they are. Lu Yuntian was also stunned. Cough, cough. Lu Ming coughed a few times and introduced, Father, mother, this is my son, Lu Shenhuang. That is Shenhuang's wife, Mu Wanxian. And this is Shenhuang's daughter, my granddaughter, Lu Qi. Li Ping and Lu Yuntian were stunned, but in an instant their faces were full of smiles. They didn't expect that after 100 years they would have a grandson. Not only that, their grandson had a wife and a daughter. The two of them were naturally excited to have so many descendants. Grandpa, Grandma. Grandpa, Grandma. Lu Shenhuang and Mu Wanxian came forward and bowed to Li Ping and Lu Yuntian. Great-grandpa, great-grandma, the little girl also called out in a cute voice. Good, good, good. No need to be so polite. The two of them couldn't stop smiling. As a family, blood was thicker than water. Naturally, they got to know each other very quickly. Not long after, Li Ping hugged Lu Qi and chatted with Mu Wanxian happily. Good, you're just like Ming, haha. Lu Yuntian patted Lu Shenhuang's shoulder and laughed. The whole family was happy and harmonious. Chiu Moon stood at the side, her eyes full of envy. She hoped that she could give birth to a child for Lu Ming. Ming Shenhuang's mother is. After a while, Li Ping asked Lu Ming. She's Nianqing. Lu Ming said. Then where is she? Li Ping asked with concern. She has something to do now. Mother, don't worry. I will bring her to see you soon. Lu Ming said. While everyone was chatting, Lu Yuntian ordered a banquet to be prepared. The news of Lu Ming's return also spread, causing the people of the Dragon League and Dragon God Valley to cheer. Lu Ming was their backbone. Without Lu Ming, they felt uneasy. There was even a rumor that Lu Ming had fallen. There was always an uneasy atmosphere in the Dragon League and Dragon God Valley. Now that Lu Ming had appeared, everyone was naturally happy. At night, the moonlight scattered and the ground seemed to be covered with a layer of frost. Outside the celestial city on a mountain peak, Chiu Moon stood there quietly, looking into the distance. Sigh. After a long time, Chiu Moon sighed softly. Chiu Moon, why are you sighing? Suddenly a voice sounded. Chiu Moon was shocked. She turned around and saw Lu Ming looking at her with a smile. Young master. Chiu Moon's face blushed. Lu Ming walked over and held Chiu Moon's hand. Chiu Moon, thank you, Lu Ming said. How could he not know about Chiu Moon's thoughts? Young master, why are you thanking me? Chiu Moon said. Thank you for taking care of my parents for so many years, Lu Ming said. This is what I should do. Before Chiu Moon could finish, her gentle lips were sealed by Lu Ming's lips. Chiu Yu's body trembled as she slowly closed her eyes. At the corner of her eyes, 2 drops of crystal-clear tears flowed down her white cheeks. After a long time, their lips parted. Chiu Moon, I, Lu Ming, will not let you down in this life. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.